Friday night baseball here on ESPN from Baltimore and new Oriole Park at Camden Yards, where tonight two of the top teams in the American League meet. The Chicago White Sox leading the West by a half game over Oakland, and Baltimore 1 game behind East Division leading Toronto, meeting tonight here in game 1 of our Friday night doubleheader. Hi everybody, I'm Steve Zabriskin along with Larry Sorensen. Welcome to ESPN's continuing baseball coverage. The Baltimore Orioles are playing well at home, and the Chicago White Sox are doing well offensively. And I guess the main reason, Larry, is a guy who went from the north side to the south side, George Bell.
George has been a great addition to the middle of the lineup for the White Sox. Robin Ventura third, Frank Thomas fourth, and George hitting fifth is a very, very difficult triumvirate to pitch to. Now, the thing that Bell has done is he's given Frank Thomas better pitches to look at. Frank has not been as aggressive as the White Sox would like, though, in RBI situations.
Well, right here in this ballpark, everybody loves it. The broadcasters, the fans, the media have even had glowing reports about it. But the guys who love it the most are the Baltimore Orioles. They can't seem to lose here. They've only lost twice so far.
The numbers are a little scary, and there was speculation that it wouldn't be much of a home field advantage for the first couple of homestands. Baltimore has proven that they really enjoy this ballpark, and they have a great feeling of confidence in this ballpark.
Well, they have one of their best going in Mike Mussina tonight, who's off to a great start. Kirk McCaskill for the White Sox struggling a bit. The two right-handers will be at it, and we will be back with the starting lineups in the first pitch right after this. Welcome back to Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Low clouds, as you see, a chance of rain. It's about 55 degrees at game time. A little on the damp side, but great turf here. We should get it in. And here's the starting lineup in batting order for the Chicago White Sox this evening. The Rock, Tim Raines, will lead it off. He'll be in left field. Steve Sachs, the second baseman, bats second. Robin Ventura batting third and playing third, and Frank Thomas on a tear at first base batting fourth. George Bell just having a great season so far, the designated hitter hitting fifth. Danny Pasqua struggling in right field hitting sixth. Juan Carcavais will do the catching and bats seventh. Center fielder Lance Johnson bats eighth, and Craig Grayback in at shortstop for the injured Ozzie Guillen batting ninth.
And they'll be facing Mike Mussina, 6'2", 182 pounds in his second season. Graduate of Stanford, got an economics degree from Stanford in only 3.5 years. Throws 2 different fastballs, 2 different curveballs, and also has a changeup. Behind Mussina defensively, in left field, it will be Brady Anderson. Mike Devereaux is in center. Those two have really done a great job cutting down the gap in big Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Joe Orsulak gets a start in right. Leo Gomez will be at third with Cal Ripken again at shortstop. Mark McLemore gets a start at second base with Randy Milligan at first, and Chris Hoyles doing the catching.
You and I were talking earlier before we came on the air about Mussina, watching him warm up in the bullpen, and you made the comment, how'd you like to have this guy's future? I'll tell you what, they are so high on him, and he is certainly not disappointed with the way he's pitched so far this season.
4-0 at this point, going for number 5, and actually could have had a win in his 5th start, but the bullpen gave it up in Toronto.
And he will be facing the Rock, Tim Raines, to lead it off for Chicago as we get underway. Raines doing a little housekeeping around the batter's box. Raines hitting .244, no homers, 7 RBIs so far, but he has stolen 8 bases in 9 attempts. And the pitch on the outside corner for a strike.
Said he's still getting used to the American League. He said the first year I realized that there was a little bit different strike zone. I realized guys were pitching me a little bit different in the sequence. Now I've got to learn the individual pitches.
Low and inside, 1-1. You know, Rock's one of the guys that says there is a difference between the National and American League in the way pitchers operate. And then you talk to some other guys who say, it doesn't seem any different to me. I think one of the biggest factors is what type of hitter you happen to be.
Very good point. Rock is a better fastball hitter than a breaking ball hitter, so he's seeing a lot more breaking balls when he is ahead in the count, when the pitcher's behind. When you get 3-1, 2-0 in the National League, you're going to see a lot more fastballs, particularly if you're a Tim Raines that likes to jump on the fastball.
And Kevin Mitchell, now in the American League, was lamenting the same thing. But what are you going to do to a guy who can hit the ball out of the park? You're not going to give in to him necessarily.
And after hitting 2 in 2 days, I think Mitch is going to start seeing a few more breaking balls.
1-2 to Raines, and a good fastball grounded to first, picked by Randy Milligan, and the Moose steps on the bag for out number 1. You see that the wind, according to the flags, which are in left center field, is blowing in. Well, that's not necessarily the case all over this playing surface, because the wind really swirls in here, and it can look that way in the outfield, and in the infield be going totally opposite direction.
And Johnny Oates said you see the flags blowing straight out, and yet in the dugouts all the cups and the garbage is blowing straight in at him. He said he knows which way it's blowing there.
And just don't even look out there. Steve Sachs hitting .253, no homers and 6 RBIs, and a breaking ball low, ball 1. Sachs changed numbers when he came over to the White Sox. He was going to be wearing number 10 and opted for number 7. On the inside corner, 1-1.
Some guys get really superstitious about that. You know, they really, when they go one place to another, they try to keep that same number.
It's why Carlton Fisk wears 72 on this ball club. He was 27 in Boston. He couldn't get 27 when he came to the White Sox, so he said, all right, give me 72. I don't know that there was anybody ever outside of spring training who wore 72 before. Strike with a slider on the outside corner, 1-2. And if you wear 72 in spring training, chances are you are not going to be with the club when the season begins.
Of course, now we've got Jack Armstrong with 77 down in Cleveland. Players, especially if they get that jewelry made up, you know, they'll have the pendants and all that, or the wives. My wife has a whole jewelry box full of different numbers. Because I was the kind of guy they just said, we've got this uniform extra, take that one.
Thank you very much. Just glad to have one. A number back to the mound. Mussina goes out. Sachs 2 away here in the top of the first. And we want to remind those of you who tuned in expecting to see the game in New York with the New York Mets from Shea Stadium. They are in a rain delay there, so we're glad that you're with us. And as soon as it is possible to send you to Shea Stadium, we will do so. Here's Robin Ventura hitting .302, 1 home run and 15 RBIs. He has been hot over the last couple of weeks. And he skies one to center field. Devo, Mike Devereaux will squeeze it, and the inning is over. A fairly easy first for Mike Mussina as the White Sox go in order. No score. Welcome back to Oriole Park. As we go to the bottom half of the first inning with no score, we'll show you the batting order for the home standing Baltimore Orioles tonight. Brady Anderson, their leadoff hitter, just been unbelievable. He's cooled off a little bit of late, but still doing an outstanding job. And Mark McLemore will get the start at second base, replacing Bill Ripken. Cal Ripken still in there, game number 1,602. That's third. Sam Horn, the designated hitter, hitting fourth. Mike Devereaux, the center fielder, fifth. Joe Orsulak's in right field. He'll hit sixth, batting seventh. The first baseman, Randy Milligan. The catcher, Chris Hoyles, hits eighth, and third baseman Leo Gomez bats ninth.
Facing the Oriole lineup is Kirk McCaskill. Just came over from California in the offseason. Throws 4 pitches and needs to throw strikes with all 4 of them in order to be effective. You see the walks. That's the key statistic for me. 20 walks in 29 2/3 innings. Some people have said he's had bad luck. I think the walks make for bad luck. Playing defense behind him in left field will be Tim Raines. Lance Johnson, one of the better outfielders in the American League. In center with Dan Pasqua in right. Robin Ventura at third base with Craig Grebeck filling in for Ozzie Guillen at short. Steve Sachs at second with Big Frank Thomas at first. And Ron Karkovice behind the plate.
McCaskill and his control problems. That view shared by his manager, Gene Lamont, who told me before the game that he feels all Kirk has to do is get it under control. He's not overpowering anymore. And so therefore he has to be precise with his control. And you know, Larry, from pitching in the big leagues, if you're going to be wild, you do not want to be wild in the strike zone.
No, you want, especially when you're a curveball pitcher, as he is starting to be as time goes on. He's lost a little on his fastball. His curveball is his #2 pitch. One of the theories advanced is that part of the trouble he's had with his control is because of the cold weather, and he hasn't been able to get as good a grip on his curveball as he would like.
He started Brady Anderson off with a curveball. Anderson has been on base by either a hit, walk, or being hit by a pitch 26 straight games. Ground ball to second. Sachs with an easy play for out #1.
So easy play hasn't exactly been the definition for Steve Sachs lately. He's had some serious defensive problems recently.
Leads American League second baseman in errors. In fact, the White Sox have made 21 as a team. Mark McLemore hitting .333. No homers and 10 RBIs. Over the last 9 games has hit .355, hitting his way into the lineup. And a fastball for a strike. McLemore was one of those non-roster invitees to spring training who earned a job.
With Billy Ripken hitting only .211. If McLemore keeps producing, he'll stay in there. Johnny Oates really likes to use his bench, and he's gotten good production out of his bench. And McLemore actually came off of that bench to win a starting position at the moment.
No balls and 2 strikes. And the fastball grounded foul, and just foul outside first. Hit the chalk right out of the box and then skipped by Larry Young, the first base umpire. Breaking ball in the dirt. 1-2. Casco making his 6th start. He is 1-3, and his ERA is nudging up against 6 per game. And those guys walk a lot. They tend to score a lot. Fastball fouled away. Still 1-2.
I always thought if somebody got on by a walk and scored, it should have been an unearned run, you know, just like an error.
Well, you were a pitcher, that's why. There's Mr. Cal Sr. at third, and Davy Lopes over at first. Davy just had a birthday last week. McLemore lofts one to short right field. Dan Pasqua in for out #2. So 2 out and nobody on for Mr. Streak, Cal Ripken. And when you think about the fact that he has played 1,602 games now consecutively, and that's a bunch, and he's years away from Gehrig's 2,130. That record is just amazing to me.
Which obviously why you tell me every time he plays a game what game number it is for him, right?
I think it's important that we keep up with the news. Base hit right field. Sachs couldn't flag it down. Ripken with a 2-out single.
Cal has traditionally been a slow starter, and everybody in the Orioles organization says that they can see him starting to pull out of it, starting to hit the ball more to the opposite field rather than pull it, starting to hit the ball with much more authority.
Now here's a guy that can hit it with authority. Sam Horn, who is also broken out of late. He's hitting .292 with just 1 home run, 7 RBIs. He hasn't played every day as the designated hitter from the left side. But in his last 4 at-bats, he's had 4 hits. A breaking ball foul outside first. Lopes with the play. Strike 1.
Yet talking to Davy Lopes earlier in the day, he said that Sam Horn's running ability on the bases last night is what won the Orioles the ball game in the bottom of the 9th. Got a base hit. There was a play at third base, and Sam hustled from home all the way to second on the throw, which set up the runner in scoring position. He was pinch run for, and that turned out to be the winning run. You don't expect a big fella like Sam Horn to get plaudits for his base running ability, but it won him a ball game.
Just because you're expected to hit home runs doesn't mean you cannot also hustle.
Well, and the key to making that play is going hard from home to first.
That's
and
right.
Davey said, I can't tell him to go to second because the play is in front of him. Johnny Oates was very impressed with his base running also because it won him a ball game. But he said he's got to make that play on his own, and he did.
Line drive, base hit, center field. Ripken will stop at second, and with 2 out, the Orioles with back-to-back singles. That was a rocket. Here's Mike Devereaux hitting .283, 6 homers and 19 RBIs. And Devo loves to hit here at home. He's hitting .340 in his last 12 games here in the new park. Ball 1. Starting to rain as the umbrellas pop up. Some people without them head for cover. Grounded to short. Graybeck goes the short way to Sachs, and the inning is over. 2 2-out hits, 2 left in the first for Baltimore, and no score after 1.
News tonight from Shea Stadium. The good news, the rain has stopped. The Dodgers and Mets are no score in the bottom of the first. The bad news is, due to continuing technical difficulties, we cannot take you to Shea Stadium, but we are efforting to resolve that problem as I speak. We'll get you to Shea as soon as we can. Now let's go back to Baltimore.
Thank you, Tom. Right here we go to the second inning, and big Frank Thomas will lead it off for the White Sox, hitting .256, 2 home runs, 13 driven in. And a deep drive to center. Devereaux looking up, and it is well out of here. Frank Thomas hits the first pitch for a 400-plus foot home run, and the White Sox lead it 1-0 in the top of the second inning.
400 plus.
Hey.
The designated hitter, number 21, George Bell.
Sometimes you try that get-ahead fastball, and the batter gets the head on it. That ball right down the middle. Didn't try to pull it. Strong enough to hit the ball out in any part of the ballpark, and that's a way back.
That's one of them whiplash jobs. Well, for Mussina, it's only the 3rd home run that he has given up this season. He is down 1-0, and Frank Thomas has an 8-game hitting streak as George Bell takes the ball. And I'm telling you, talk about a guy who's been on fire. George Bell has hit in 18 of his last 20 games, hitting .355 to hit .323 overall, 5 homers and 22 RBIs so far. And a breaking ball high. 2 balls, no strikes.
The rap on Bell, of course, has been weakness defensively, but some of the writers from Chicago were telling me he's even improved himself out there and is working at it.
And of course, now being back in the American League, he can DH as he is tonight. Foul back. 2-1. Last summer in Chicago, Mussina was making his major league debut on the mound, and Frank Thomas homered off Mussina back then. So Frank Thomas, one of the few American League hitters who likes to hit against Mike Mussina, apparently. Bell gets an inside fastball and skies it to left field. Brady Anderson short of the track. 1 away.
This is starting to gain a reputation as a hitter's ballpark, and you saw Brady Anderson camped underneath, and at the last minute he had to take about 3 or 4 more steps backwards. Some of the players were saying that there are some jet streams in this park, and if you get it up, you've got a good chance. 410 in the left center field gap, but it's fairly accessible in the other areas. 333 down each line, but they say the ball gets out there in a hurry.
Well, the umpires are going to say, let's get out of here in a hurry, as it's raining hard enough now for them to call the game. That's John Shulock, the home plate umpire. So with 1 out in the second inning, nobody on base, and Frank Thomas having given the White Sox a 1-0 lead with his 3rd home run of the year to lead off the inning. The rain halts play here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. And the grounds crew will rush to cover the field as quickly as possible. 1-0, top of the second, a rain delay here in Baltimore. So let's go back to the studio and Tom Means.
All right, Steve, just in the nick of time because the rains are falling in Baltimore. They're covering that field. The rains have stopped falling at Shea.
46 minutes and rain wreaking havoc with the big league schedule all over the Northeast tonight. As those of you who were watching the Mets and the Dodgers have joined us. And of course, when that game resumes, those of you who were to see that game, we will send you back there. But right now, Joe Orsulak, Randy Milligan, and Chris Hoyles will be facing Kirk McCaskill of the White Sox here in the second inning. Mike Mussina apparently had no ill effects from the rain delay. We'll see what McCaskill can pitch as effectively after sitting down that long. Orsulak has been struggling offensively. That's one reason he hasn't been playing a whole lot. He's only had 2 hits in his last 21 at bats. That's an .095 average. He's hitting 190 overall. And he fouls the first pitch out of play for strike 1. Do you think Joe is going to the beard to sort of change his luck here?
You try anything.
Yep.
I mean, nothing is sacred when you're in a big time slump. You try anything you can. Shoes are one of the first culprits. They go
in a hurry.
Glove soon follows.
Hard shot and a good play by Steve Sachs on 1 hop and 1 out in the second.
Batting 7th, the first baseman, number 39.
That's what you call staying with it.
Well, for a guy that's been struggling defensively, did a great job on that bullet.
So McCaskill will now face the Moose, and they're not booing. They're giving the Moose call for Randy Milligan, hitting .222, 3 homers and 12 RBIs. And a big breaking ball that stays inside for ball 1. Milligan missed 6 games a week or 10 days ago after a collision with Bill Ripken, suffering a mild concussion. And he's been back for 6 days, and he's hit in all 6 games he's been starting since he returned to the lineup. Another breaking ball for a strike. Now it's 2 balls and a strike. 1 out, nobody on. We're in the bottom of the second inning. Three and 1. And if you were with us at the top of the telecast, you know that walks have been a big problem for Kirk McCaskill, and he's behind here 3 and 1. Not anymore.
We also mentioned that he has to be able to be effective. He has to be able to get all 4 of his pitches over, and there's the 3-1 slider. So he went with something other than his fastball.
Chris Hoyles on deck. And he got Milligan looking with another breaking pitch on 3 and 2. McCaskill's first strikeout. We'll go back and get an update from Tom.
All right, Steve and Larry in St. Louis tonight. The Braves and Cardinals, first of a 4-game set. Terry Pendleton, the former Card, says you shouldn't have let me go. Shouldn't have let me leave town. Solo home run as the Braves on top 1-0 in the second inning. Steve.
Yeah, Pendleton left town, and that baseball did too. 2 out, nobody on for Chris Hoyles, the Orioles catcher, off to a fine start, hitting .318, 7 home runs to lead the club, and 17 RBIs. And a big breaking ball outside, ball 1.
Doing a great job behind the plate too. The Orioles pitchers and Rick Sutcliffe in particular say that nobody in baseball is playing as well as Chris Hoyles right now.
Foul back, 1-1. It's funny how when you're going real good offensively as a catcher, they don't talk about those things. But when you're struggling at the plate as a catcher, the first thing they say, yeah, well, he's doing a good job handling the pitcher. You know, he's a great defensive catcher.
Well, really, anything offensively from a catcher is a plus. Well, he's in there to handle the game,
right,
to handle the pitchers, run the game. Anything you get offensively from him is a plus.
People don't really understand how difficult it is to hit well as a catcher, because most of the time any part of your anatomy may be very sore, and a lot of times it's your hands. You get sore legs, you get hit with foul tips, your hands get sore, and it's hard to hit when you have sore hands.
Tough to grip the bat when you've just taken a 93-mile-an-hour fastball foul tip off of it.
Slider back up the middle, knocked down. Graybeck comes up with it, not in time. Fine effort by Craig Graybeck, but Hoyles has an infield base hit.
Graybeck does everything possible to make this play, and the reason he's able to get it at all is because of the thick grass in this new ballpark. Jumps up in a hurry and makes a strong throw, just not quite in time. Hoyles runs very well for a catcher also. You see this ball bounced a couple of times in the grass, which slowed it down enough for Graybeck to get to it. Can't get up any faster than that. Ozzie Guillen wouldn't have gotten up any faster than that. He did everything possible.
So Hoyles at first with 2 out for Leo Gomez, hitting .262, and he takes low ball 1. Gomez with 2 home runs and 9 RBIs. Hit number 3 for the Orioles, the infield variety by Hoyles. Ball 2.
The grass is very, very thick here. The coaches were kidding before the game, saying that they were really pumping up their muscles from hitting fungos because they had to swing so much harder here to drive the ball through to the infielders.
And now it's damp, which slows the ball even more. Little breaking ball on the inside corner, 2-1.
Funny how some ballparks have that real thick, high grass, and some they cut it down and make real quick infields.
Depends on who your infielders are.
Tiger Stadium had that long, long grass. Always fun to pitch there.
Low and away, 3-1. Gomez checking out Cal Ripken, the third base coach. I'm not quite sure why.
Checking to see if he put the double sign or the triple sign on.
Swing the bat, 3-1. Let's go. A strike on the outside corner, 3-2. So with 2 out, Hoyles will be running with the pitch.
Well, this is a good pitch, but you don't want to try and nibble and catch a corner here to Leo Gomez with Brady Anderson on deck as well as he's been swinging the bat. I've got to make sure with 2 outs that I give this guy a chance to make an out rather than put him on first with a walk and face one of the hottest hitters in baseball. I throw at any kind of strike here. I throw right down the middle and challenge him to hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Hoyles goes. It's a breaking ball and a check swing roller to first. Frank Thomas steps on the bag, and the inning is over. 1 hit and 1 left in the second. Still 1-0 Chicago. It's soggy and it's cool, but the rain has gone, at least for the time being, and the wind has stopped blowing. And so we are back to baseball. We had a 46-minute rain delay in the second inning. And as we go to the top half of the third with Chicago leading Baltimore 1-0, Lance Johnson will be hitting for the first time, hitting .263, no homers and 5 RBIs. A couple of right-handers going. Mike Mussina for the Orioles and Kirk McCaskill for the White Sox. Fastball foul back, strike 1.
Give that sound contract.
Lance Johnson has hit leadoff for the White Sox, but when you have Tim Raines and he's going well, you've got to put Timmy coming out of the chute. Not that Lance Johnson isn't a fairly effective leadoff hitter, but you're talking about a guy in Tim Raines who's second among active players in stolen bases behind Ricky Henderson. But this guy can motor.
Looked like he's protecting his feet a little bit too. Must be wet in the outfield. He's got him wrapped up to try and keep him dry.
Well, they never care about the outfield. Fastball popped up, foul territory, maybe playable. Hoyle's going after it, and he just ran out of room in the photographer's box. Had that railing not been there, he might have had a shot at it. So it's still no balls and 2 strikes to Lance Johnson, leading off the 3rd inning. They rush to cover the batter's box, the mound, the infield. Let the outfield go. You can see Mussina's foot picking up a little mud on the mound. In the dirt. 1-2.
What happens on a rainy night from the pitcher's standpoint is that when you walk on the grass into the dugout in between innings, your shoes get wet. Then you go back out to the mound, and even though the dirt actually is dry, your feet pick up the dirt because your shoes are wet from the grass, and so the mud starts forming, and so you have to step off and take the spike cleaner and do a little busy work.
It's important that you have that footing when you land. Grounded to first. Milligan knocks it down in time. And Mussina may have been spiked by Johnson, who of course can fly down that line. It looked like Johnson had a shot at beating it out, but Mussina recovered, as did Milligan.
I'm not sure if Milligan forgot who was running or if this ball struck him in a spot that left him a little bit vulnerable, but it took him a couple of seconds to get after this ball. Now at the end, you see he really hurries up and has to make a much tougher play. It's a very close play, and I think you're exactly right. Yeah, that stings a little bit, first of all, and now you've got to make that tough flip throw because he realizes Lance Johnson's running. Watch the hesitation. Now he puts it in gear and sprints after it. Makes for a tough play, but a good call.
Larry Young right on top of it to punch him out of there. So 1 out in the 3rd, and Craig Graybeck is the hitter, the number 9 man in the order, hitting .231 with a home run and 8 RBIs.
Larry Young punched him out, but a little bit more vigorously than he probably wanted. I saw him before the game. He got hit with a pitch from Randy Johnson the other day. Drilled him.
Gomez overthrows Milligan. McLemore backing up on the play, so no chance for Graybeck to advance. Gomez made a good play, but muscled up on the throw.
Gomez made a very good play down the line, and then he tried to crank and throw. That's a Brooks Robinson play, but now he lets it go, and the proximity of the stands to the bases is what kept Graybeck from being able to advance. You'll see that the stands are very close to the baselines, and the ball comes off. McLemore is hustling over. Of course, getting tangled up with Randy Milligan slows you down a little bit, too.
Run into the moose, you might have to forget about going to second. They have scored that as a base hit. Don't know that I totally agree with that, but it is an infield single for Graybeck, and here's Tim Raines, who, leading off the game, grounded to Milligan at first base. Outside, ball 1. Brock intently studying Terry Bevington, the White Sox third base coach. 1 out. Graybeck at first. White Sox lead it 1-0. We're in the top of the 3rd. It sharply to Milligan. He goes to Ripken. Back to Milligan, and the 3-6-3 double play ends the inning. 1 hit, but nobody left in the 3rd for the White Sox. They still lead the Orioles, however, 1-0. Leadoff hitter Brady Anderson leads off the bottom of the 3rd inning for Baltimore. Chicago leading 1-0. Anderson grounded to second. His first time up. strike on the outside corner, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. McCaskill has given up 3 hits, struck out 1, walked none so far. 2-1. Down the left field line and slicing out of play for strike 2, 2-2. Anderson's one of those guys that they're already putting all the numbers together, and they're doing that thing I don't like. At this pace. At this pace, he's going to have X number of RBIs, X number of stolen bases. I mean, it's the first week in May. Let's get real here.
And never in his life has he done anything like this. Why should we think he's going to continue at this pace?
The guy's off to a great start. You got to give him credit. He's driven in a lot of runs. He's hitting .400 with men in scoring position. Stolen 10 out of 12 attempts. He's been on base 26 straight games. Heck of a job as a leadoff hitter, and the RBIs are a bonus. Skied to short center field. Graybeck going out. Johnson coming in. Graybeck calling, but Johnson makes the catch. And Graybeck did the right thing. He got out of the way, even though it was at the last minute.
Anytime you hear that center fielder calling for the ball, you bail out no matter how good a chance you think you have of making the play. He takes charge.
He better take charge. It's his job. Mark McLemore flied to shallow right field in the first inning. Strike 1.
Good movement on the fastball.
McLemore is leading the Orioles in hitting. One and one.
And gets the respect accorded somebody that's leading the team in hitting. You notice the little diamond on the sleeve of the White Sox. The white sock obviously is a emblem, but the little diamond is in honor of some people that passed away over the wintertime. Sherry Berto and Maureen Schuler, Ron Schuler's wife, died of cancer over the winter, and so they're wearing that little diamond in honor of them. Sherry Berto was an assistant to Jerry Reinsdorf, chairman of the board.
2 balls, 2 strikes as you look in the dugout. New manager Gene Lamont without the jacket on the left. Former third base coach of the Pirates, and of course has been with Jim Leland for a long time, a coach under Leland back when Leland was managing the White Sox. And there's the warehouse in right field here, the old Camden Yards train warehouse, the rail yard warehouse, which is used as the Orioles offices. Fastball sharply hit to short. Graybeck fires. McLemore is retired. 2 out here in the third.
Shortstop, Cal Ripken.
Watching the game from over there in the warehouse is akin to the rooftops across the street from Wrigley Field. And there is a little bit of Wrigley in this ballpark, a little bit of Comiskey, a little bit of Boston's beautiful Fenway Park. This is what a ballpark ought to be, and this is what a ball player ought to be. Cal Ripken, single to right in the first inning, and takes ball 1. Cal's now been on base 18 straight games with that single in the first. And a breaking ball. It breaks in there for a strike. 1-1. McCaskill's got a big bender, and when he can get it over, he's tough.
Once you can get a hitter to commit his hips, lock his hips up, it's all over. There's nothing left for him to drive with. He has no momentum towards the pitch. He's done.
Fastball, 1 hopper right at Graybeck, who's been busy but equal to the challenge. And so has McCaskill as the Orioles go in order here in the third inning, and the White Sox still lead Baltimore 1-0. White Sox lead the Orioles 1-0 as we go to the fourth inning here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Steve Zabriskie and Larry Sorensen with you. Glad you're with us. We had a 46-minute rain delay in the second inning. But we are back to baseball, and Steve Sachs, number 2 in the order, leads off the 4th inning for Chicago and takes the ball. Sachs grounded back to the pitcher Mike Mussina in the 1st inning. A fastball right on the outside corner. 1-1.
Right on the outside corner.
Painting it.
As a pitcher, they tell you, work the outer 5 inches on each side of the plate. Sure.
Yeah. Ripped foul. The ball and 2 strikes. Well, that middle part of the plate does tend to belong to the hitters. And pitchers don't want to be living in there, or they won't be out there very long. Fastball nubbed off the handle. Mark McLemore with the easy play, out number 1.
Third baseman, Robin Ventura.
Johnny Oates has really done a great job since taking over here as manager, and has these Orioles off to a terrific start. Robin Ventura flied to center to end the 1st inning. And his average has dipped below 300 to 298. And he takes a fastball right in there.
Had a long talk with Johnny last night after the game. After he took a shower, we sat around the locker room. He said he really loves the challenge of making the moves, and he's been making all the right moves, pinch running and pinch hitting. Enjoys the National League game more because he thinks you can use more strategy than in the American League. Said that in spring training he always caught a lot of grief from his coaches because he'd look at the list of players going on the trip and he would add a couple of guys, and Senior would say to him, Cal Ripken Senior would say, "Why are you taking those guys?" He said, "Because I like to do double switches and I'm going to do some things today."
And spring training's about the only time you can
against
do
the
that.
National League teams.
Yeah. Off speed pitch for a strike. 1 ball 2 strikes to Robin Ventura. Boy, this guy can swing the bat. If you want to, of course, with Big Frank Thomas there, we can't even see him.
He does tend to block out the sun, doesn't he?
If you want to, you're a young baseball player and you want to pattern yourself after a guy, you would not hurt yourself a whole lot to watch Robin Ventura. The one semi-unorthodox thing he does is start with that open stance and then bring his front foot in toward the plate. Popped up on the left side. Cal Ripken calls off Leo Gomez. 2 out in the 4th inning.
He does start off with the open stance, but you noticed as the pitcher goes into his windup and his delivery, he gets himself back into the proper hitting position with his weight back, his hands back.
But even the good hitters pop up once in a while. And here's Frank Thomas, who has accounted for the only run of the game, a leadoff mammoth home run in the 2nd inning. His 3rd of the year. It was to right center field. And he takes a fastball high, ball 1. Big Frank played football in college, but was a 1st-round draft pick in baseball in the June draft of 1989. Probably could have gone on and had an NFL career.
He's big enough and strong enough. One thing about it, if you're going to give up a home run, make it legit.
That was legit.
That was legit.
That ball's probably flat on one side. Of course, Mussina has struggled against Frank Thomas. Thomas 6 for 7 so far against Mussina. But Mussina gets a strike in there at the knees. 2-1. Isn't it a little unusual for guys to put the lamp black under their eyes during a night game?
Bright lights.
Just missed inside. 3-1. You don't see many guys put that glare killer under their eyes for a night game, but Frank Thomas, maybe it helps on pop-ups or something.
Maybe it's good luck.
There you go. Now we're getting down to what really may be the reason. Ball 4, and those last 2 pitches did not miss by much. That's the first walk Mussina has issued. And he has very good control. Does not ordinarily walk very many batters. A 2-out walk to Thomas will bring up George Bell, who's been on fire. George fly deep to left in the 2nd inning. But he entered the game having hit in 18 of his last 20. 18 RBIs in his last 18 games and a .355 average over the last 20. He's hitting .320 overall. Ball 1. It may be unusual for Mussina to walk somebody, but it's not unusual for Frank Thomas to walk. Frank Thomas has now walked 31 times in his last 27 games.
But there has been some concern that because he's hitting 4th, he's getting a little bit too selective with men in scoring position. Now with the George Bell behind him, George Bell has 22 RBIs because they're leaving some men on base for him to drive in. But there has been a little bit of talk in Chicago that they want him to be more aggressive with the bat, maybe swing at something that's not exactly his pitch, but is still pretty close that he can still drive.
Well, here are the 3, 4, and 5 hitters for the White Sox. They are 3 good ones, and look what they have done so far. I think George Bell being right there has made a big difference.
You hear all this talk about acquiring a hitter so that somebody else gets better pitches to hit. It really is true. I mean, who are you going to pitch around in that kind of situation? Do you want to pitch around Frank to get to Bell? No. Do you want to pitch carefully to Ventura with those 2 coming up? No.
And George takes in tight, and it is 3 balls and no strikes.
I think Dave Winfield has done the same thing for the Toronto Blue Jay lineup.
Absolutely. And Winnie must be getting pitches to hit because he's been hitting them.
Hit one a long way last night with 3 guys on.
Salame. 3-0 to George. Let's see if they turn him loose here. It looked as if he was going to hit, but it was low. 2 walks in a row with 2 out here in the 4th. Put runners at 1st and 2nd for the White Sox, who already lead Mike Mussina and the Orioles 1-0.
When you sit down with your catcher before the game, you run through the lineup and you take a look at everybody and you say, all right, I don't want this guy to beat me. I don't want that guy to beat me. This guy has good success against me, so let's try and stay away from him. When you throw that many quality hitters in a row against the pitcher, there is no place to run and hide. There's nobody you can work around to get to your out. And there are guys that are outs for different pitchers.
Well, Dan Pasqua has been struggling at the plate. And with 2 out, there may have been some thinking of not giving in to Bell in that situation with Pasqua coming up. Pasqua did look at a called 3rd strike his first time up in the 2nd inning, and he takes high, ball 1.
Although I never liked working around a hitter that would push somebody into scoring position.
No, it's usually not good policy. So the Baltimore pitching coach will come out and chat with Mr. Mussina.
Dick Bosman with some words of wisdom. People always want to know what the pitching coach or the manager says when he comes out. George Bamberger, former Baltimore coach, was always my favorite. He would come out and he'd say, you got 2 guys on and 2 outs, get the 3rd out. Okay.
Thanks, Bambi.
Or he'd say, you've got 2 guys on, 1 out, throw a double play. Okay.
Well, Dick Bosman said a lot more than that as he was out there, it would appear. Pasqua hitting just .235 with runners in scoring position, in addition to his overall batting average, which is .241. Down low, ball 2. Pasqua has only had 1 hit since April 27th. His batting average over that period of time, a paltry .048, not counting his strikeout in the 2nd inning tonight.
But a very streaky hitter that can hit him as far as anybody around.
Well, there goes one a mile, but it's going to be foul. Two balls and one strike.
It got down there pretty quick too, didn't it? Breaking ball a little bit over the middle of the plate, and he's got enough juice, but he hooks it.
Sometimes when you hit a ball real hard, it'll hook even more. And Pasqua's ball started out down the line and then took a right turn. 2-1. Strike at the knees, right on the outside corner. 2-2. You saw Hoyle setting up out there, and Mussina nicked the corner.
He'll throw his fastball about 90, 91 miles an hour. Two curveballs, as I said earlier. One a two-knuckle curve and one a one-knuckle curve that he throws a little bit slower.
Hoyle's with a series of signs as there is a runner at second base. Frank Thomas. 2-2, 2 out, 2 on. Ground ball to second. McLemore with an easy play, and the inning is over. 2 2-out walks, but both are left here in the fourth. Bottom of the fourth inning here in Baltimore. A damp and cool evening, and after a rain delay in the second inning, everything has remained pretty much the same. 1-0 Chicago. And here in the bottom of the fourth, it'll be Sam Horn, Mike Devereaux, and Joe Orsulak to face Chicago's Kurt McCaskill. Sam Horn had a single to center in the first inning, a rocket back through the middle. He is 5 for his last 5 at bats. Breaking ball fouled off. Strike one.
That helps the batting average a little bit.
Yes, and Sam is up to 306. One and one. Sam Horn last year averaged a home run every 13.8 at bats, and that was the 4th best in the major leagues.
One of the preseason favorites to be the first player to hit the warehouse too.
That's right. Hitting from the left side certainly helps in that department, but that's a poke. Take a look at that. That's out there.
They say it's actually 432 feet out to the base, but it needs a trajectory of a 460-foot home run.
I don't believe it's 432. I think it's farther than that. I mean, you got to go maybe right down the line. Maybe right down the line it would be that much of a distance, but it falls away as you go towards center field. I'll tell you what, though, if he or anybody else puts one in one of those windows, I want to be here on that night. It'll be replayed on ESPN 900 times. I still want to be here that night. I want to see that poke. And you know what will happen if and when that happens? There'll be 45,000 people here, but within a few years there'll be 2 million guys saying they were here that night.
I was here the night Sam hit the warehouse.
A check swing roller to Graybeck. Graybeck's had a little busy evening already, and we're in the 4th inning. 1 away.
Center fielder, Mike.
Sunday Night Baseball coming up this weekend here on ESPN, and you will see some players. Toronto, of course, leading the Eastern Division. Alomar, Carter and company going up against the California Angels. John Miller and Joe Morgan will be there. 8 o'clock Eastern time. Sunday Night Baseball here on ESPN. Mike Devereaux, the hitter. Devo grounded into a force play to end the first inning. And he takes a strike. It's 1-1. The big bender way outside, 2-1. You think there's still people who think a curveball is an optical illusion? Well hit to center, but Lance Johnson is there. 2 out in the 4th.
You're more than welcome to stand in and watch a major league pitcher throw it sometime if you think it doesn't curve.
Yes. We are in the new magnificent Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Friday night baseball, game 1 of our doubleheader tonight. Steve Zabriskie and Larry Sorensen with you, where the White Sox, on the strength of a solo home run back in the 2nd inning, leading off by Frank Thomas, lead the Orioles 1-0. 2 out. Bottom of the 4th, and Joe Orsolak, the hitter, he grounded to second, leading off the 2nd inning. And Joe with just 2 hits in his last 22 at bats. Fastball high and deep to right. Pasqua going back, and he dropped it. Johnson picks it up. Orsolak in at 3rd. It looked for a minute like the ball might leave the yard, and I think Pasqua thought it might, and when he tried to make the catch, he couldn't.
A fastball that's up, he jumps all over it. Part of the problem too in this ballpark is that there is a rubber warning track, and a lot of the players are having trouble getting onto that track. He just clanked that one. Joe Orsolak got away with some bad base running. After he rounded first, he saw it wasn't going out. He slowed down because he assumed that Pasqua was going to catch it. He's lucky he made it into 3rd.
And it is a 3-base error charged to Danny Pasqua, coming with 2 out here in the 4th, and Randy Milligan, who looked at a called 3rd strike in the 2nd, is the hitter. 1 strike to count. And a big breaking ball for strike 2. A major league error by Dan Pasqua, a 3-base error. Puts Orsolak at 3rd with 2 out. One ball and 2 strikes to Milligan.
It's an odd sensation to go from walking on the grass to all of a sudden getting your metal spikes onto that rubber surface.
Yeah, most people here don't care for it at all. Ground ball to second. Steve Sachs flips it over to Thomas, and the inning is over. 1 error, a big one, but no damage done as the error has left the board. It'll be the bottom 3rd of the order for the White Sox as we go to the top half of inning number 5. Chicago leading Baltimore 1-0. Mike Mussina and Kurt McCaskill each doing a good job. Mussina has allowed just 2 hits. One of them, however, Frank Thomas's 3rd home run of the year. McCaskill has allowed just 3 base hits. And Ron Karkovice leads it off. He struck out swinging to end the 2nd inning. Karkovice, Johnson, and Graybeck here in the 4th or the 5th for the White Sox. On the inside corner, a strike. Breaking ball grounded to 3rd. Leo Gomez flips it over to Milligan. 1 away.
His facial hair must be in vogue this year, huh?
I don't know. You know, each of these teams have been complaining about the cold weather they've had to play in so far this season. Maybe they're doing it just for some warmth. Usually guys will wait till the end of the season, September, October, to get that winter beard going. Here, I guess winter's not over for some of these guys. Lance Johnson has almost always sported the goatee. He grounded to first opening the 3rd inning, 0 for 1. And he takes a strike as he shortened up a bit. Shortening up at 3rd base is Leo Gomez, trying to take that bunt away from Lance Johnson.
Of course, as soon as you do that, you take the bunt away and somebody hits a high chopper that would have been a routine play, gets over your head for a double. Outfield also playing Lance around to left and short.
And they're pitching him away. They're a little too far away, 1-1. Well, you can't be everywhere, and one of the things that speed does for you offensively is cause the defense to do some things they would not ordinarily even think about doing, let alone have to do.
And the Baltimore defense has adjusted and left a gap inside the park home run size in right center.
Well, Anderson had him played fairly well, shallow and over near the line, and he makes the play in foul territory for out number 2.
Mike Mussina is so mechanically sound. You think that he would never have any arm problems. Has great endurance. He's a very hard worker. He's had 17 starts. This is his 18th start for the Orioles, and he's gone into the 6th inning all but one of those starts.
What has been, or rather become to be known, I guess, as quality starts.
Which I don't really agree with either.
No.
If you got a 4.50 ERA, 3 runs in 6 innings, that's not a quality start to me.
All they're saying really is that the guy didn't get knocked out early and saved some of the bullpen. And really the latter part of last season and this year, you don't hear much talk about it anymore.
No.
I think that people are realizing it's not really a worthwhile stat.
It went the way of game-winning RBI.
Grayback fouling it off. 1-1.
Which was another stat I was glad to see them eliminate.
Well, they ought to have some way of recognizing late inning heroics in tight games. But under the old system, the guy could get the game-winning RBI in the first inning, and the team went on and won 10-0. I mean,
it became a meaningless number.
Yep. 2 out and nobody on for Grayback, who singled but was erased on a double play in the 3rd. Way outside. 2-1. Grayback's a guy who can play other positions besides shortstop, but that's probably his best place. And of course, with Ozzie Guillen unfortunately out for the year for the White Sox, Grayback is the man and has been doing a good job. Swing and a miss as Mussina had one drop off the table.
That's the changeup again, and pitching coach Dick Bosman calls it a stop and go change.
Yeah, those are, as a hitter, those are the worst kind.
Oh, what makes it effective is it looks just like the fastball. The delivery is the same.
Breaking ball nubbed over first. Milligan back, and the inning is over. Mussina retires the White Sox in order here in the 5th inning, but Chicago still leads 1-0. Toyles will be leading off the bottom of the 5th inning for the O's as they trail 1-0. And back on Monday of this week, big thrill for Chris. Off the glove grand slam home run.
3rd grand slam of the year for the Orioles, a sign that things are going great for you at home. But a controversial play, and I talked with the umpires today before the game, and they said every umpiring crew that has been in here has told the league office they need to erect some kind of a plexiglass fence or something in left field, because there are going to be nothing but plays like that all summer long. And as soon as one goes against the Orioles, then you'll hear people screaming. It's a 7-foot-high wall, and it's very easy for the fans to reach over into fair territory to interfere.
Yeah, they bumped the fielder's arm and glove, and it appeared as that is what happened on Hoyle's ball. Foul just outside of first as he nubbed it off the end of the bat. 1 ball, 1 strike.
The rule on that is if the fan reaches into fair territory, then it's interference. If the ball is over the wall and the outfielder is going in to try to get it, then it's the fan's right to get the ball.
And in defense of the umpires, when there's a foul ball outside of the lines, it's pretty much an easy call for them, because on a pop-up like that, they generally have time to get over there and they have a good view of it. Out there in the outfield, even though the second base or third base umpire may run out depending on the situation on base to confirm the catch, it's not a good angle for them to be able to tell interference or not. This one is popped up. Frank Thomas has a chance in foul territory. Looked like he stumbled a little bit. Whether it was that rubberized surface or he caught a cleat or a spike in some of the turf, I couldn't quite tell. Nonetheless, one away here in the 5th.
Not only is it not a good angle for the umpires, but they're running too because they're trying to get out there as fast as possible. So they have the jiggly eyeballs, same as an outfielder does when he's going to catch a fly ball. Makes it very difficult to make that call. And the umpires mentioned it right away when we were talking about the different aspects of this ballpark.
Leo Gomez, the hitter, he takes high and tight for ball 1. He grounded to first base back in the 2nd inning. 1 out and nobody on. Here in the bottom half of the 5th inning. High fly ball to Pasquin right. Will he catch this one? Yes. And you can hear the crowd anticipating. Unfortunately, somebody threw something at him as well. You always hate to see that. But Pasqua makes the catch this time, 2 away.
Ball seemed to carry out there a little bit better than he hit it too. There's the pavilion on the other side of the right field bleachers. In fact, those are standing room only seats that they sell out there at $3 a head to come in and stand on the other side of the bleachers in center field, right center field.
As with the rain we've had tonight, as you can tell, not many takers this evening. Brady Anderson, the hitter, the leadoff batter, 0 for 2. He is grounded to second and flying to shallow center. 2 out, nobody on. Kurt McCaskill still has allowed just 3 base hits and no runs. Ground ball up the middle. Sachs playing over in the hole, can't make the play. Anderson runs well, and Sachs was playing him over toward first. Made a heck of an effort to get there, but no chance to get him at first.
Great play by Steve Sachs, but with his momentum going towards center field, not quite enough arm to get back and make this play. Heck of a try, though. And as you said, Brady Anderson runs extremely well.
From that angle, you can see how far Sachs had to go for that ball, too.
He was behind second base when he actually started to throw the ball.
So Anderson at first with 2 out for Mark McLemore, who is 0 for 2, and Anderson, who has stolen 10 bases in 12 attempts, draws a throw. The infield single, the 4th base hit for Baltimore.
Johnny Oates says that's one of the things he likes best about Brady Anderson is he has the great percentage of stolen bases. He said anybody can get their stolen bases if they're only doing it 60% of the time. Give me the guy that steals 80-90% successfully. Those are the guys I want to run.
And really the benchmark, I think, of a good steal percentage for an individual is probably around 80%. For a team, it would be in the low 70s maybe. You figure that they'd be having pretty good success.
Some of them obviously will be hit and run attempts gone awry.
Right.
Somebody swings through and misses, and one of your bigger guys is lumbering.
Anderson now on base for the 27th straight game with his base hit here in the 5th.
Talk about having a great start, leading the league in triples, second in RBIs, second in stolen bases.
And at the risk of further butchering the language, he's getting on base good like a leadoff hitter should. A bunt laid down by McLemore, and he's thrown out at first. Wasn't quite over near the line enough, and McCaskill pounced on it and threw him out. 1 hit, 1 left in the 5th. The White Sox still lead by 1. Count Baltimore skyline, and that's sky tonight. We've got a ball game just about as good as that view right there. 1-0 White Sox. And you'll see another good game coming up on Monday Night Baseball here on the ESPN. Atlanta and St. Louis will be going after it. Some of you will see Chicago and Houston as well. That's at 8:30 Monday night here on ESPN. Monday Night Baseball, Atlanta, St. Louis, or Chicago and Houston. Tim Raines leads off the 6th inning for the White Sox, who lead the Orioles 1-0. Rock is 0 for 2. He grounded to first twice, the second time into a 3-6-3 double play. And the 3-6-3 is about one of the few ways you're going to get him in a double play. strike on the inside, and he didn't think so. 0-2.
Former teammate of mine in Montreal, and we were talking about the home run Karkovice hit in Chicago the other night, and Rock immediately popped up with it. Reminded me of the one Dave Parker hit off you in Montreal. Thanks a lot, Rock.
I always have a little shot, you know. You got to take a shot once in a while. That's inside. 1-2.
Of course, the ball Parker hit had so much hang time, our bullpen coach had time to jump out of our little penalty box and run around center field and see where the ball hit. He paced it off for me the next day to let me know how far it went.
Now, the Cobra could hit him off of anybody. You know, there's no disgrace in that. 1-2 to Raines. Fouled off. Still a ball and 2 strikes. Mussina with a good night, although he's down by a run here in the 6th inning. That's what Larry was speaking of earlier. 17 of his 18 starts so far for the Orioles. He has made it into the 6th inning. He's made it into the 6th again tonight.
The Oriole staff is taking great pride in complete games, and the starting pitchers have some competition among them.
Check swing roller that'll go foul and stay foul.
You know, very curious, the end of that play, a good play by Chris Hoyles. He let it run. He let it roll, waiting to see if it might come back to the line because Raines stopped running. He saw it was foul. He wasn't going anywhere up the line, so Hoyles let it go instead of picking it up right away, hoping it might roll back into fair territory.
And that's what Tim was smiling about, because I'm sure they were discussing that. And if it had rolled back fair, it's a playable ball, as long as it does so before it gets to the bag.
Smart play by Hoyles.
Another check swing. This one rolled towards second. Tough play for McLemore, and he can't get there. He would have really had a tough play getting Raines, even if he had picked up the ball cleanly.
You only get one shot at it. You've got to make that first bare hand grab and quick flip almost in the same motion. You start your throwing motion and then grab the ball. He took his eye off a little bit to look at Raines, but it was going to be a tough play regardless. Putting the check swing in play into effect tonight, Tim Raines.
We've had a few swinging bunts tonight. This is our 4th infield base hit of the evening. And as Raines is credited with an infield single to lead off the 6th inning. He has stolen 8 bases in 9 attempts at 51 last year, and of course is second on the active stolen base list behind Ricky Henderson. Steve Sachs, the hitter, 0 for 2. Sachs to bunt, and it's a good one. Gomez will go to first, and the sacrifice moves Raines down to second with 1 out. That surprised you that he bunted on the first pitch?
No, because I think Gene Lamont's got the feeling that if he can get another inning or 2 out of Kirk McCaskill, he can turn it over to his bullpen, which he has a great deal of confidence in. Scott Radinsky and Bobby Thigpen down there have been doing a great job for him. So he's trying to get 1 bonus run, hopefully give his bullpen a couple to work with.
And there's a huge difference between leading by 1 and leading by 2. Robin Ventura 0 for 2 has flied to center and popped to short. Batting with Raines at second and 1 out. White Sox already leading 1-0. Strike 1.
I think that sacrifice bunt was probably also a tribute to the job Chris Hoyles has been doing behind the plate. Maybe you give Raines a chance to steal, but Hoyles has been so effective that they want to make sure they get him over to second base for 3, 4, and 5.
And Ventura has driven in 10 runs in his last 11 games. Outside, 1-1. And there's the World Trade Center on deck.
Yeah. Where's the warehouse? Pretty good pitch, just a little bit outside.
Frank, of course, has to stand right in front of the camera, which nullifies one of our cameras tonight completely. Check swing roller in front of the mound. Mussina keeps reins at second. It throws out Ventura. Nobody wants to take a full swing tonight.
The check swings are a tribute to the good stuff that Mussina's got, because he's fooling the hitter so completely. They're trying to hold up, and he's doing it mostly with his changeup. I think he's thrown a few more of them tonight than the White Sox are used to seeing. They heard about the great arm that he's got. They knew he has the outstanding curveball, but he's been very effective with his changeup tonight, and I think that's what's been fooling everybody.
Plus, he's going up against a lineup that's full of good fastball hitters.
Exactly right.
And here's another one of them, Frank Thomas, who homered in the second and walked in the fourth. 1 for 1, and the only run of the game. 2 out. Rain still at second. On the outside corner for a strike. And remember, Frank Thomas, 6 hits in 7 official at-bats against Mike Mussina, including 2 dingers.
He would fall into that category of guys that you don't like to face with the ball game on the line.
One ball, 1 strike. And George Bell on deck, so it doesn't get any easier getting through this heart of the order. I think George's trying to stay warm. Either that or he's got headphones on that we don't know about.
Dancing to the beat of a different drummer.
Well, he is a DH tonight, so he's got to loosen up when he comes out of that dugout. Strike call. A little bit of a delayed call. And Thomas earlier in the year complained vehemently about the calls he was getting, and he hasn't helped himself any by doing that either.
And the umpires read the newspapers too, and Frank coming out saying, I'm not a rookie anymore. Now he thinks it's inside as he backs away. That pitch is not inside. It might be a little bit low. That pitch is not inside.
I thought it was low. Frank thought it was inside.
I thought it was a strike.
John Shulock agreed with you. It didn't make any difference if anybody agrees with him or not. Thomas hits it the other way, a hit and run type of outside hitting by Thomas, and Rain scores to make it 2-0. Now that's something that Frank Thomas has in his repertoire that makes him different than a lot of big guys. He really can go with a pitch.
And this is exactly what we were talking about earlier. Now Hoyles wants this pitch inside. Mussina throws it away, and Frank does a good job going out to get it. But that's exactly what we were talking about him not taking so many pitches and getting pitches that might not be in the area that he wants it, and still being able to do something with it to produce a run.
He drives in his 2nd run of the night, as he has accounted for both. He has 15 RBIs on the year. And here's George Bell, who was fly deep to left and walked. Strike the count.
Gene Lamont's sacrifice bunt strategy pays off very nicely for him.
And it's not, when you're a manager too, there's nothing like that 2-out base hit.
Oh, kills you as a pitcher.
Inside, 1-1. You're watching Friday Night Baseball here on ESPN. Game 1 of our Friday night doubleheader coming to you from Oriole Park at Camden Yards in Baltimore, where the White Sox lead the Orioles 2-0 with 2 out in the top half of the 6th inning. Steve Zabriskie and Larry Sorensen with you on a cool, damp Friday evening. Bell hits it a ton to center field. Devereaux going back. Can't make the catch. Frank Thomas will score, and George Bell holds at second, and it's 3-0 Chicago.
George, you've got to pick better places in the ballpark to hit it than the very deepest part. He's mad that he didn't get the home run. Hit to the 410-foot mark. Mike Devereaux thought that he should have had that ball. He was angry with himself for not coming up with the catch. And again, I think that the transition from the grass to that rubber warning track is making a difference to these outfielders. Devereaux at the end of this play was really upset. You see there he takes the steps onto that track and the ball just hits off of his glove.
He really had one more step he could have taken before he leapt in the air, and it's going to take a while even for the Oriole outfielders to get used to that surface out there, because it's just not the same as running from grass onto the gravel or crushed brick or dirt or cinders that others use.
And it's very springy. Your cleats don't actually sink down into that rubber. You kind of have a little bit of spring in there. It's very rubbery feeling.
Van Pasqua, the hitter, 0 for 2. He struck out looking and grounded to second. Activity in the bullpen for Baltimore now. Alan Mills and Storm Davis up and throwing. A breaking ball for a strike. Mussina pitched very well until here in the 6th inning when Raines led off with the check swing infield single. There you see Mills to the left and Storm Davis to the right of your screen. Then the sacrifice by Sachs moved him to second. Ventura tapped back to the pitcher, so with 2 out, Mussina had a chance, but Frank Thomas with an RBI single to right, and then George Bell the big double to center to score Thomas, and it's 3-0. And now 0-2 to Pasqua.
And the reason you hit 0-45 is because you miss fastballs like that, which normally is a pitch he likes to drive.
Just inside, 1-2.
I'll be interested to know why Johnny Oates has 2 right-handers warming up down there. Mills and Storm Davis are both the same type pitcher in the same roles.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you've had a right-handed starter and the opponent's lineup has sort of been set up with the left-handed DH, and as you would against right-handed, you want to bring in a left-handed pitcher as a reliever to sort of force the other manager to have to do at least one change in his lineup.
Oates only has one left-hander, Mike Flanagan, who really has become a one-hitter type of pitcher at the end of his career. But Mills and Storm Davis have both been doing that middle relief job. Storm pitched last night and got the win, in fact.
High and away. So after getting Pasqua no balls and 2 strikes, Mussina has come back now with a full count, 3-2, 2 out, and George Bell at second base. A fastball ripped foul down the right field line.
This has become a little bit of a history for Mike Mussina. He has had strong starts, then struggled a little bit in the middle parts of the game. And if he gets by that middle part, then he generally finishes and has a good outing. But he's had some trouble in the 5th and 6th innings of some ball games.
Another 3-2 pitch. And another fastball fouled away. Well, you know, a lot of times they contribute that, Larry, to losing your concentration, you know, drifting a little bit. And he's so mechanically sound that you wouldn't think that it would be something that he would be doing incorrectly as far as his mechanics or motion is concerned.
Second and third time through the lineup has a lot to do with that.
That's true. Start looking for certain pitches.
Which is why, as a pitcher, you always have to adjust. You change your sequence to each hitter.
Grounded sharply to first. Milligan has it. He will flip to Mussina. And the inning is over, but the damage is done. The White Sox score twice on 3 base hits and lead 1, and they now lead it 3-0 in the 6th. Now a 3-0 Chicago lead here in Baltimore with 2 runs in the top half of the 6th. And before we go to the bottom half of the inning, there comes a time in every telecast when we are obliged to remind you that this copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of Major League Baseball and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form without the express written consent of Major League Baseball. Having said that, I'm glad it's over.
Kirk McCaskill wishes this was over.
Yeah, well, he's got a 3-run lead, but he's got Cal Ripken to face here in the 6th. And Cal takes high, ball 1. Ripken singled to right back in the 1st inning and grounded to short in the 3rd, 1 for 2.
Scalded that second ball, the shortstop also.
Almost knocked Graybeck over. Back up the middle, and McCaskill with the backhanded stab. 1 away. He made that look easy.
Yeah, when you're on a roll, everything does seem pretty easy. This is a big night for McCaskill. He's been struggling. One of the question marks about the White Sox team is their starting pitching. Do they have enough starting pitching?
Well, you just can't go out there and outscore everybody every night, even if your offense is as good as theirs can be. You just aren't going to win without the pitching. Sam Horn, the hitter, he has singled to center and grounded to short. Also 1 for 2. The big breaking ball fouled off for strike 1.
This is turning out to be a very good week for the White Sox as far as getting their starting pitching on track. Alex Fernandez with a pretty nifty 1-hitter on Monday night. It was almost a boring 1-hitter. You know, he gave up a hit in the 2nd inning and retired 21 guys in a row very efficiently.
Wasn't boring for him, though. Breaking ball that's high, 1-1. Boring for the opposing hitters. One out, nobody on for Big Sam. Fastball sharply hit and by a diving Graybeck. Picked up by Raines, and Horn held to a single. A 1-out base hit by Sam, his 2nd hit of the night.
Orioles are getting pretty good production out of that first base slot and the DH spot, using Milligan and Horn to fill in when Glenn Davis is still injured. Although he is back now, Milligan and Horn did a good job flip-flopping over there while Glenn Davis was out.
And Mike Devereaux has done a good job. Tonight, however, Devo is 0 for 2. He grounded into an inning-ending force play and flying to center. And outside the fastball for ball 1.
Devereaux bounces back and forth also between 2nd and 5th in the lineup, and he's hitting 182 when he hits 5th. He's hitting 448 when he hits 2nd.
Yeah, I might think about stop bouncing him.
Well, I'm sure a lot of that has to do with Brady Anderson being on base so much, opening up the infield, both his running. Devereaux getting more fastballs to hit because Anderson's running.
And when Mark McLemore plays, he hits 2nd. Billy Ripken usually hits 9th when he's at 2nd base. And McLemore is in there tonight, so Devereaux down in the 5 hole. And McCaskill with a hole of his own here. 3-0 to Devereaux with Horn already at 1st and 1 out. Boy, this is what drives managers and pitching coaches nuts. You get 2 runs, you get a 3-run lead. You want a quick 1-2-3 inning the next half inning, and now he's going to bring the tying run to the plate.
At least make them hit their way on. Ron Karkovice goes out to have a talk. The key for Kirk McCaskill is to get a good balance point with his delivery over the rubber. When he starts getting in trouble, he starts rushing to home plate, and instead of holding himself and making a good drive to home, his left side goes first and rushes to home plate. That's when he starts getting wild.
Right now he will face a left-handed hitter as well, as he has Sam Horn at 2nd, Mike Devereaux at 1st, and Joe Orsulak, the hitter, 0 for 2. Orsulak with a base hit up the middle. Big Sam being sent, but the ball gets away from Lance Johnson. Devereaux goes to 3rd.
The Orioles think it's 1989 again, a solid base hit up the middle, and Sam Horn does a good job making the turn at third base. Lance Johnson has trouble coming up with the ball, which allows Devereaux to get into second, or into third rather. Again, a solid base hit up the middle, but watch if you can the turn that Sam Horn makes around third. It goes out of the picture. Lance comes in and bobbles the ball a little bit, and when he does, Devereaux hot puts it over to third.
It's a base hit and an RBI for Orsolak, but an error on Johnson allowing Devereaux to go to third. Randy Milligan, the hitter, he has struck out and grounded to second. And it's 3-1 Chicago. Moose chased one out of the strike zone, 1-1.
Davey Lopez said one of the things that the Orioles worked on in spring training was being more aggressive. You see a lot of action in the bullpen. Terry Leach and Scott Radinsky for the White Sox. But he said they worked on being more aggressive, and you've seen it tonight several times.
Well, the White Sox are running a lot more, as are the Orioles this year. I think teams overall seem to be running more. And that's not just stealing bases. That's trying to take the extra base. Breaking ball, it's high. 2-1 to Milligan. Runners at first and third, and a run in. Down low, 3-1. The Orioles had one of those, what is becoming Oriole Park special comebacks last night, as they just can't seem to lose in this ballpark. They're trying to come back again tonight. Strike two. Milligan didn't like it, but it's 3-2. Runners at first and third and one out.
About 40,000 other people didn't like it either.
Chris Hoyle's on deck. Base hit center field. Devereaux scores. Orsolak was running and he goes to third. The Moose comes through with his 13th RBI of the year. And it's a one-run ball game again. 3-2 Chicago.
So much of baseball is mental and confidence, and the Orioles right now just believe that they cannot be beat in this ballpark. Doing all the little things to keep rallies going, all the aggressive base running things that get your club into a good rally situation.
The White Sox now have Greg Hibbert up and throwing in the bullpen with Terry Leach, as McCaskill struggles here in the 6th inning. The White Sox scored 2 in the top half, and the Orioles have come back with 2 of their own so far in the bottom half. Still only 1 out. Still runners at first and third. Chris Hoyles takes low, ball 1. And this is what the players call first and third men. And the Orioles are doing it here in the 6th. They've plated 2 on 3 hits and a walk after Ripken led off the inning, grounding back to the pitcher McCaskill. Orsolak, the runner at third. Milligan at first. A strike at the knees, and it's 1-1. Hoyles tonight is 1 for 2. He singled an infield base hit in the 2nd inning, and he popped out in foul territory with first baseman Frank Thomas in the 5th. Johnny Oates doing a little cheerleading in the dugout. Also helps to keep the hands warm on a night like tonight.
This is the kind of game Johnny Oates likes, when he can do some managing, and they do a lot of aggressive running. The Orioles have 21 home runs in 14 games here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards, but not tonight.
Breaking ball grounded to short. Slow roller may not be enough for 2, and it isn't. Orsulak scores to tie the game. Hoyles will be credited with an RBI as Milligan is retired on the force at second. It's 3-3. And the crowd give us some more Moose calls because Milligan made sure Graybeck could not even attempt to complete the double play.
Since it is a slow roller, it slows down the timing of the double play, but Milligan does a great job taking out Steve Sachs with the little roll there. Hoyles does not run that well, although for a catcher he gets down the line pretty good. But a good job by Randy Milligan.
So Hoyles at first, 2 out for Leo Gomez, who gets a base hit to left. Hoyles is heading for third. And Raines gets it back in, but not in time. And the first and third continues.
Solid bullet down the left field line for Leo Gomez. Once it rains, it pours. A little bit surprised that they're going to leave McCaskill in, and now here comes Gene Lamont.
Four hits and a walk here in the inning. And 3-run score to tie the game. McCaskill will lead. And we will return to Baltimore in just a minute. The game is tied at 3 as the Orioles have come back, scoring all 3 runs here in the bottom of the 6th inning after 1 was out. There are now 2 out. And McCaskill unable to benefit from a 3-run lead. And so Greg Hibbert is on his first relief appearance of the season. He's made 6 starts with a record of 4-1.
Little bit of an unusual move here. Scott Radinsky is the short left-hander in the bullpen, the guy they bring in to get that left-hander out late. Alvarez is their long man, but he was a part of that 15-walk effort yesterday with Charlie Huff. Hibbert had 3 relief appearances last year, but none the year before that, and none the year before that.
And he'll be facing a hot hitter in Brady Anderson, who is 1 for 3. And runners at first and third. Hoyles at third, Gomez at first, and a ball, nope, a strike from the inside corner. I got deked by John Shula. Anderson 1 for 3 tonight.
The Orioles find amazing ways to win ball games. Last night they won on a wild pitch from Rick Aguilera in the 9th inning.
They were down by 3 runs in that game and came back to win. Anderson gets sawed off, a number towards second. Sachs gets him at first, and the inning is over. So Hibbert comes in and gets the final out. However, 3 runs on 4 hits and a walk in the 6th tie the game for the Orioles.
Hello again, everybody. Tonight from the Kingdom, it's the Tigers and the Mariners, game 1 of a weekend 3-game series. John?
Look for a lot of offense in this game tonight. The pitching staffs on both of these clubs are struggling.
All right, keep it right where it is. The Tigers and the Mariners.
Thank you, Paul and John, and we will have that game for you as soon as we are through here in Baltimore. We are going to the 7th inning. It is a 3-3 ball game. And Ron Karkovice drops a base hit into left field to lead off the inning. Karkovice had been 0 for 2. And Mike Mussina, who gave up 2 runs in the 6th and fell behind, is now going to get a visit from Johnny Oates.
And a pat on the back and have a nice night. I would imagine.
Yeah, I would think so. You know, it might even been able to make a case for him not even starting the inning. But had he gotten the first out of the inning, it would have been a different story. But he is done for the night. And it appears as if Storm Davis will come in to relieve him. So Karkovice is on with nobody out here in the 7th. A 3-3 tie. We'll be back to Baltimore in a moment. Right-hander Storm Davis will make his 10th appearance of the season. They have all been in relief. He is 2-2 with no saves so far, as Mike Mussina goes 6 innings plus a hitter. And of course he's responsible for Karkovice, and the game is tied at 3, so he can lose it and cannot win it.
Storm Davis is a 10-year veteran in the bullpen now at the end of his career. 3-9 last year with a 4.96 ERA for Kansas City. Still has a good arm. He'll throw a couple of different kinds of fastballs, also a good curveball and a straight change. But as you said during the break, the biggest hindrance to his career, and although he spent 10 years, is everybody expected him to be the next Jim Palmer. Had the great curveball, very similar to Jim Palmer's, and there just aren't many of those kind of guys around.
Nope. And one of the best things Storm Davis ever did was get out of Baltimore. Now that he's come back, it's a different situation, and the same pressure has not been on him. Of course, he's pitching also primarily in relief. He will face Lance Johnson with Ron Karkovice at first and nobody out here in the 7th inning. Johnson 0 for 2 has grounded to first and hit a foul fly to the left fielder, Brady Anderson. Johnson squares and takes a strike. That brought Milligan in, who has a word for Storm Davis before going back to first base.
They have signs that the infielders go through to say which bunt play is going to be on, but they always have somebody come in and tell the pitcher verbally in addition.
And the runner goes from first, Karkovice, and a one-hop throw not in time. I think Hoyles was surprised as Johnson swung through the pitch.
Ron Karkovice is not the kind of guy that you go that you try to steal a base with. Lance Johnson just didn't make contact. He got a good jump. He'll be talking about that one for days. Almost comes off the base at the very end of this play. Storm forgot him about a little bit, and he almost comes off the base at the tail end, but stays there. He'll be reminding everybody for the next week that he stole a base.
That's his 2nd stolen base in 4 attempts. And Lance Johnson looks at called strike 3. We were talking about how much more the White Sox and the Orioles are running. The fact that Karkovice has attempted 4 stolen bases shows you.
Exactly right. And there Hoyle sets up. There Storm Davis throws it. Even John Shulock liked that one, didn't he?
A little extra punch on that one. First strikeout, of course, for Davis. Craig Graybeck will be the hitter. He is 1 for 2. He had an infield base hit in the 3rd, and he popped out to first in the 5th inning. 1 out with Karkovice at 2nd. Good play by Chris Hoyles.
Talked about the great job Hoyles has been doing behind the plate. That's one of the keys, is he's been able to keep balls in front of him that are in the dirt. Several of the Baltimore pitchers said they're not afraid to throw their split finger. They're not afraid to bounce their curveballs because Hoyles done such a great job. And that was a very hard breaking ball by Storm Davis.
Strike on the outside corner with that moving fastball. 1-1.
Well, when you know that your catcher has a hard time with balls in the dirt, it makes you a little bit gun shy about really finishing a pitch off sometimes. You don't give it the extra little bit at the end that makes it an effective pitch, because you know if you throw it in the dirt, it might get by the guy.
And you really, to be effective, have to pitch as much the same way with guys on base as you do with the bases empty. Out there again. Those pitches are borderline and maybe a little off the plate, but because Hoyles is setting up right on the corner and Davis is able to hit the target, if it's marginal, he's getting the call. And it's a ball and 2 strikes. Breaking ball skied into short left field. Anderson got a late jump, but he has plenty of hang time and plenty of speed to make up for it. 2 out as Karkovice, of course, remains at second. We had a 46-minute rain delay back in the 2nd inning. At that point, it was 1-0 Chicago. We only had 1 run scored through the first 5 innings. Then we had 5 runs scored in the 6th inning. 2 by Chicago and 3 by Baltimore. So we are tied at 3 in the 7th. Top of the order, and Rock Raines the hitter. He is 1 for 3 with an infield base hit and a run scored. And again, Davis hits that outside corner, strike 1. A reminder, we'll be taking you to the Kingdome or Detroit at Seattle as soon as we're through here tonight.
These are quality pitches from Storm Davis tonight.
A little bit high and tight. 1-1. I noticed that the scoreboard operator used to pop the count up there real quick. And then John Shulock has had a little studied move once in a while. Now the scoreboard operator is waiting just to be sure before he changes the numbers.
Keeps an announcer honest too, doesn't it?
Yeah. And that one you could almost put up there right away. 2-1. Karkovice at second. He singled to lead off the inning and then stole second. 2 out. Strike 2.
That's exactly the kind of thing that we talked about earlier. When you're behind in the count, you're looking for the fastball, as Tim Raines obviously was, and Storm Davis threw an outstanding curveball.
And all Raines could do is turn around and walk away in disgust
and say, I thought he was going to throw me a fastball.
2-2. Now with an even count, you really get the element of doubt going in the hitter's mind. And a breaking ball. Did he go too far? No. Third base umpire Don Denkinger says he did not swing. So it is a full count with 2 out, and Karkovice at second.
Ball just breaks out of the strike zone.
That is a definite downer, isn't it? Curveball of Davis's doesn't slide across the strike zone. It goes down.
Always has been a good pitch.
Ball 4. You lost him with a fastball low and inside. So with 2 out, Raines walks. Runners at first and second, and the hitter will be Steve Sachs. Davis's first walk. Sachs tonight 0 for 2 plus a sacrifice.
Well, on the scoreboard, they've got that he lined to second in the 4th inning. That's being a little generous, isn't it?
Yeah, that was one of those jam jobs. Would that be a good description? A little soft humpback liner. They only call it a line drive because it wasn't high enough to be a pop-up and it didn't touch the ground. Other than that, it was lucky it got all the way there on the fly.
It barely did that.
Outside corner at the knees. 1-1. Storm Davis working in relief of Mike Mussina, who went 6 plus 1 hitter here in the 7th. It's a 3-3 tie. The White Sox with runners at first and second and 2 out. And Sachs steps out. You better be sure as a hitter you get time from the umpire before you step out too. You can't just step out. You have to ask for time and get it. Slapped on the ground to second. Mark McLemore will go to first. And the inning is over. 1 hit, a stolen base and a walk, but both are left aboard in the 7th. Still tied at 3. Here is the storyline tonight. The pitching was the story of the first 5 innings of the game, and if there has been one hitting star you can single out, it has to be Frank Thomas. 2 for 2 with a home run. He drove in 2 runs so far. It was his 3rd home run of the year, and of course we did have that rain delay back in the 2nd inning. But the White Sox took the lead in the top of the 6th. The Orioles come back with 3 in the bottom of the 6th, becoming standard fare here at Oriole Park. So it's 3-3 as we go to the bottom of inning number 7. And Mark McLemore, the only guy not to bat in the 6th for Baltimore, leads off the 7th. McLemore 0 for 3, has flied out to right field, grounded to short, and on a bunt attempt was thrown out by the pitcher. 1 ball, 1 strike. Greg Hibbard working in relief of Kurt McCaskill, who went 5 2/3. So the game is in the hands right now of both Hibbard and Storm Davis as far as the decision is concerned. They are the pitchers of record. Two and 1. Fastball, 1 hopper to short. Graybeck, and he's been knocked over a couple of times tonight, and a great play on the other end by Thomas with a backhand pick. And Larry Young says McLemore's out of there. Close play.
Another shot to shortstop. Graybeck does a good job with it. Jumps up on him at the last second. Then he makes the throw over to first. And a very good play by Frank Thomas. When the ball gets out that far, it's very tough. And what the fans thought was that Big Frank had his foot off of first base when he made the scoop.
No. Tell you what, those umpires are proven right 9 out of 10 times at least on the replay.
At least.
Graybeck with 6 assists in the game, as he has had some shots over there. And Cal Ripken, the hitter, 1 for 3 with a single to right back in the 1st inning. Since then he's grounded out twice. Popped up short center field. Sacks going out, but it's Johnson coming hard, and he makes the catch.
Long way for Lance Johnson to go, and then he almost overran it when he got there.
Yeah, sometimes there's such a thing as being too fast.
Well, plus there still is some wind here, and so that ball was probably carrying out to him. We saw a couple of balls to right field that Pasqua had trouble with it. The wind helped out a little bit. You're going hard where you think the ball is going to come down, and then all of a sudden the wind catches it and blows it an extra 4 feet. Almost caused it to get by you.
Sam Horn, the hitter, with 2 out, nobody on. He has 2 hits and 3 at-bats, both singles, and he has scored a run. Sam has had 6 base hits in his last 7 at-bats. 1 and 1.
You start to get the feeling this game could be decided with 1 swing of the bat.
Yes, sir. You've got a couple of guys in there who appear to be throwing very well, and Hibbard for Chicago and Davis for Baltimore, and it may take something like that to end it. Look out. Well, Hibbard giving new meaning to the term backdoor slider. Comes right around Sam Horn.
1 swing of the bat. That pitch will not be swung at. There's no place to go on that either.
Oh, where are you going to bail
There's
to?
absolutely no place to go.
You bail into the pitch, and that's going to be it for Hibbard. Gene Lamont is out to make the change, and we will take a timeout as well. Still tied at 3. We'll be back.
So let's get busy. Cincinnati beat Chicago this afternoon. The Mets and Dodgers, believe it or not, have resumed after a 2-hour rain delay. The Giants have beaten Montreal. San Diego leads the Phillies 6-4 in the 8th. Houston and Pittsburgh in the bottom of the 3rd, a long rain delay there. Atlanta leads the Cardinals 2-1 in the 9th. In the American League, KC over Boston in the 8th. Chicago and Baltimore tied. Minnesota leads Cleveland. Texas over Milwaukee in the 8th. And the West Coast games just now getting underway. No score in any of those games. Let's go back to Baltimore, Steve.
Thank you, Tom. We appreciate that update. We were kind of wondering what happened to you guys. How about those Red Sox, huh? All of a sudden they can't score any runs after doing better earlier. Here's Terry Leach. Still doing it after all these years. in relief here in the 7th inning, making his 11th appearance already. He's 0-1. No, it's his 7th appearance. And Mike Devereaux will be the first hitter he faces, with Sam Horn at second, or rather first, and 2 out. Devereaux takes the ball. He's 0 for 2, plus a walk and a run scored. High but foul. There would have to be no foul lines in the game for that to be a home run. That was way foul.
A little bit quick. Yes, Terry, it's cold enough. You can blow on your hand.
I'm surprised he waited till after the first pitch to ask. One and one.
I think every ball game we've done this year, you've been allowed to blow on your hand while you're on the mound. Thought spring was supposed to come with opening day.
It just makes me all the happier that I live in Florida. Warm. Where we've been, it's been cold. Well hit to center. Johnson off and running, gets there. Lance Johnson, after a great break, had it all the way. One left in the 7th for Baltimore, and after 7 we are still tied at 3.
Robin Ventura.
We're going to the 8th inning, and Robin Ventura will lead it off for the White Sox as the game is tied at 3. Storm Davis pitching in relief of Mike Mussina for the Orioles, and he will be facing Ventura. Then Frank Thomas and George Bell, the heart of the White Sox order here in the 8th. That's going to be foul and out of play down the left field line for strike 1. Ventura tonight has flied to center, popped to short, and grounded back to the pitcher.
We may be going to the 8th and then some.
It's not over till it's over, right? That's what Yogi supposedly said. Nubbed towards second. Picked up by McLemore. 1 out in the 8th. And let's get another update from Tom Mead.
All right, Steve, in Oakland, they're just underway, still in the top of the 1st. This is Mel Hall. And this is a base hit to left field. Down the line it goes for a double. Don Mattingly will score, and the Yankees are off to a good start against the A's. 1-0. Yankees still batting in the top of the 1st. Steve?
Thank you, sir. Right here we are tied at 3 as Frank Thomas, who has been the hitting star of the night for the White Sox, 2 for 2 plus a walk, a home run, and an RBI single. 2 runs scored. Stands in and takes a ball.
That ball Mel Hall hit was fair by a bunch, wasn't it?
Your basic cue shot.
Boy, you hate that.
Line drive snagged by McLemore. Fine play by Mark, but that shows you how locked in Frank Thomas is. That was another bullet.
This is a legitimate line drive to second base.
Yeah.
He smokes this ball, just not quite enough elevation to get it by the diving McLemore. Nice play.
And the crowd cheers it again as they see it replayed on the Jumbotron in right center field.
Also had the feeling that McLemore was trying to get his head out of the way, didn't you?
Yes, yes. Accomplishing 2 things, catching the ball and staying alive. 2 out, nobody on for George Bell, who has had an RBI double and a walk tonight. He also flied out deep to left, officially 1 for 2. And the guy they used to call Jorge takes a strike. Bell doubled to the deepest part of the park, or he'd have had a home run. It went about 410 feet off the wall. George hitting .326. And he has now hit a 19 of his last 21. Strike on the corner, 0-2.
George is pretty sure that this pitch is outside. And in fact, it is very close to being outside.
John Shulock, however, has called that pitch all night long.
One of the things that you look for as a pitcher is to establish the areas you can get those strikes called.
Well, they go out there again, and Bell reaches out and punches it about 350 feet. But right there is Devereaux, and the inning is over. 1, 2, 3 in the 8th for the White Sox. It remains a tie game at 3.
Friday Night Baseball Studios. We'll get back to Baltimore in a moment. Reminding you, after the Orioles game of the White Sox, many of you will see the Detroit Tigers at the Seattle Mariners. That's coming up. First of all, in St. Louis, bottom of the ninth, tying run at third for St. Louis. No, Milt Thompson is struck out by Marvin Freeman. The Braves win it. 2-1. Back to Steve and Mr. Sorensen in Baltimore.
Thank you, sir. Well, I tell you what, Atlanta Braves got some pitching, don't they? I mean,
yes, they do.
No matter what else happens, they're probably going to be there again this year, at least in contention, just because of those arms.
Closer by committee.
Yeah, and they're all doing a good job. Joe Ursulak skies one a mile high into left center field. Raines and Johnson converge, and Lance Johnson, as he should, takes charge for out number 1.
He's all over the place, isn't he?
He's been busy. He and Graybeck have done most of the work for the Chicago defense tonight. Well, here's the Moose, who hit an RBI single to center back in the 6th inning when the Orioles scored 3 to tie the game. He also has struck out looking and grounded to second. 3 runs on 6 hits for the White Sox, 3 runs on 8 hits for the Orioles. Milligan with a slicing fly ball to right. Pasqua right there. Easy out number 2. And Terry Leach, who for a lot of his career has had hitters pounding the ball down into the ground, has been getting fly ball outs since he came into the game. All 3 outs recorded in the air.
Take them any way you can get them.
Yep. Chris Hoyles, 1 for 3, has singled, popped out, and reached on a fielder's choice. 2 out, nobody on. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning, tied at 3. Strike. Game 2 of our doubleheader. Detroit at Seattle coming up next. 1-1 to Hoyles. Just a tad low, or perhaps a smidgen. I have yet to determine the difference between a tad and a smidgen, but neither one is very much. It was close. It was close. The other word I like is scotch. It was a scotch low. Fouled off. 2-2.
That underarm delivery is tough for a hitter to pick up. That's tough for an umpire, too.
That's true. That's true. That's not a point that's often made. You see the difference in Hoyles and his 2 spots in the lineup. He's hitting 8 tonight. The sweeper is outside. 3-2 now. 2 out, nobody on. Hoyles has some pop, remember. He leads the club with 7 home runs. So we'll see if Terry Leach challenges him here. It's ball 4. I think he really did want to challenge him. He just didn't get it over the plate.
No question about it, because now he faces Leo Gomez, who, if he should make the last out of the inning, will bring Brady Anderson up as the leadoff hitter in the bottom half of the 9th inning. You'd rather try to get a Gomez out and get 1 out first before facing a hitter as hot as Brady Anderson that can steal a base and do so many different things.
Gomez tonight 1 for 3. He had a single left field in the 6th inning. He's also grounded to first and flied to right. 1. Friday night baseball here on ESPN. Game 1 of our doubleheader. Detroit at Seattle to follow. We are tied at 3 in the bottom of the 8th inning. Steve Zabriskie and Larry Sorensen with you from beautiful Oriole Park. Well hit but fouled on the left field line, and it's 0-2 to Gomez. It was 1-0 Chicago through 5 as the Orioles trailed 3-0 going to the bottom half of the 6th inning. Chicago adding 2 runs in the 6th. But then Baltimore scored 3 in their half of the 6th inning to tie the game. A home run tonight by Frank Thomas back in the 2nd inning for Chicago. That's the only ball that has left the yard so far. 2 strikes to count. And that's out of play. Well, the longer something like this goes on, the more the advantage goes to the hitter. But here, Gomez has 2 strikes, no balls. So not as much of an advantage, say, as if it were a full count. It's flagged down by Terry Leach, who throws him out, and the inning is over. A walk and 1 left in the 8th inning for Baltimore. We will go to the 9th. Still tied at 3. Greg Olson out of the Orioles bullpen, and a mild surprise as he is the leader in saves with 5. He comes in here in the 9th inning with the game tied at 3.
Ordinarily, you don't see a manager using his closer in a tie ball game, but Greg hasn't pitched since Sunday, when he became the youngest in Major League history to reach 100 career saves, broke Bruce Suter's record. And since he hasn't pitched in the week, Johnny Oates figures he might as well bring him in now and try to get some work. Great curveball.
His record 0-1, and those 5 saves to lead the club. He'll be facing Dan Pasqua, and then Ron Karkovice and Lance Johnson, the 3 scheduled hitters in the 9th for the White Sox. Pasqua 0 for 3, and the good curveball is high, ball 1. Pasqua struck out looking in the 2nd, grounded to 2nd in the 4th inning, and grounded to 1st in the 6th. He has not gotten the ball out of the infield. And he pounds it foul, 1-1.
And a pretty darn good fastball to go with that curveball, too.
I'll tell you what. He's gone to the full facial hair also. These guys like to be intimidating looking out there. I guess the beard enhances that image. Fly ball to center. Pasqua will make another out, but he got the ball out of the infield. 1 away in the 9th.
You know you're struggling when you consider it a moral victory to get the ball out of the infield.
That's the best hit ball, best contact he's made probably in a week. Ron Karkovice has a base hit tonight, a single to left in the 7th inning. He's 1 for 3. He's also struck out and grounded to 3rd. 1 out, nobody on. And he pops it up behind second base. McLemore calling for it. 2 out.
Center fielder, Lance Johnson.
So that'll bring up the center fielder, Lance Johnson, who is 0 for 3. He has grounded to 1st, flying to left, and struck out looking. 2 out, top of the 9th, and you see Leo Gomez, the 3rd baseman, again in on the grass. Ball 1. Slow roller to 1st. Milligan trying to get it himself, not in time. Johnson beat the tag to the bag. McLemore's arguing Milligan in disbelief. Larry Young says safe and said it right away. Johnny Oates now talking to John Shulock, the home plate umpire. Boy, Oatesy got out there in a hurry, didn't he?
Larry Young's point is that he tagged him as he was crossing the base. Johnny Oates says no, he caught it. He tagged him in front. There's no time to make the quick flip throw to Greg Olson covering, so the play gets tangled up here because he had Olson beat.
Well, I'll tell you what, it is bang bang, and it looked very much as if Johnson could have had his foot on the bag.
That's the call that Larry Young made, and I think it's right. Now watch the tail end. Greg Olson does nothing but get in the way on this play. Nice play by Milligan. Real close.
I'll tell you what, look at where Larry Young is. He had the best angle, better than anything that we have seen to date, to see exactly when the tag is applied.
He's definitely in the right position. Good job on his part. I think he's safe.
Johnson running on the first pitch is in there. For Lance Johnson, his 4th stolen base of the year, 2nd of the night for the White Sox.
Gets a very good jump. He's safe all over the place in this half inning. Takes a little look towards home plate, which just slows him down a little bit, but beats the throw pretty easily. McLemore trying to block the bag, keep him off.
The pitch was a strike to Graybeck, who is 1 for 3 with an infield single back in the 3rd. We've had a veritable plethora of infield singles this evening. Breaking ball high and away. One and one. 2 out. Johnson at second. Game tied at 3. Top of the 9th. Fastball. Flagged down by Ripken, but he has no play. At the very least, however, he prevents the run from scoring, as Johnson would have scampered home had Cal not come up with it.
Great job by Ripken to knock this ball down, and then, being the heads-up player that he is, he looks immediately for a throw to third base in case Lance Johnson had routed the bag too far. Leo Gomez was coming in to set up for the relay throw in case there was one, so he wasn't covering third. But watch Cal get up immediately and look to try and get Johnson, who saw out of the corner of his eye that Cal had made the play.
Well, how many are in a plethora? Tonight there are 6.
A bunch.
6 infield base hits in this game. Now down south we just say that's a bunch. Runners at first and third with 2 out for Tim Raines, who is 1 for 3 plus a walk and a run scored. Down low, ball 1. 3-3 tie in the 9th, and the White Sox threatening with 2 out and runners at the corner. We'll be taking you to the Kingdome for Seattle and Detroit as soon as we're through here in Baltimore. Fastball laced to center. Devereaux right there, and the inning is over. Raines hit it right on the nose, but sometimes you might hit it too hard. 3-3, bottom of the 9th. To watch a game, and from a player's point of view, a great place to play a game, and we're seeing a pretty darn good game tonight. 3-3 in the bottom of the 9th. Can the Orioles pull off yet another miracle here? They've only played a little more than a dozen games in this park, and already it's becoming storied the way they can come back. And of course they've only lost twice. Brady Anderson, the hitter, leading off the bottom of the 9th. He looks at ball 1. Terry Leach working for the White Sox, the 3rd pitcher of the night. Line drive, base hit, left field. Anderson does it again, his 2nd hit of the night, as he starts the 9th with a single.
Macklemore.
The question now becomes, do you automatically give up the out for the sacrifice to get him over to second base with somebody that runs as well as Brady Anderson does? Or do you maybe try a hit and run with a good contact hitter like Mark Macklemore to make sure you stay out of the double play and give a ground ball a chance to go through and be first and third with nobody out?
Anderson running, and the bunt, not really a sacrifice, as Macklemore was trying to bunt his way on, almost threw his bat at the ball.
Or do you go for plan C and go to the bunt and run?
The bunt and run almost worked, but the ball rolled foul.
Leave it to Johnny Oates to pull something a little different out of his hat.
Well, Anderson appeared to have a big jump off of first base. Might have been able to steal the base had that been the play.
He did have a very good jump, and it was something of an unusual play. He probably would have been in safely. What it does is create a lot of doubt in the defense's mind about what they're going to do this time around.
Ventura shortened up at third. One strike to count, and now Leach steps off.
Trying to see if Mark Macklemore will commit with his hands to whether he's going to bunt or exactly what they're going to do.
Macklemore has not had a sacrifice bunt in 55 plate appearances this year. He squares here and pulls it back and takes ball one. One ball, one strike. Nobody out. Anderson at first in the bottom of the ninth, tied at 3. And Cal Ripken goes through the sign.
Terry Leach should not be that difficult a pitcher to bunt off of, because he's basically a sinker ball pitcher coming from underneath, and the ball is already heading down in the strike zone. It's very difficult for him to throw the ball up in the strike zone, and it's easier to bunt when it's down and moving down.
Anderson drawing a throw. Anderson has stolen 10 bases in 12 attempts. The Orioles have not attempted a stolen base tonight. See if Macklemore is bunting again. He is, and he bunts it foul. So now it's a ball and 2 strikes, and the probability of Macklemore bunting is greatly reduced. Not totally eliminated, but greatly reduced. 3-3 in the ninth. Stepping off, and again looking for some indication. Outside, 2-2. Macklemore showed no signs there of squaring, and again he studies Cal Ripken. Johnny Oates looks on.
Johnny said last night this is the part of the game that he enjoys the most. I said it's a quick way to an ulcer. It's getting involved in close games like this and having to make all the moves.
Leach really doesn't care by throwing to first whether there's any play on or not. He wants to keep Brady Anderson as close as possible, regardless of what the play might be. Anderson running, and the pitch is nubbed to foul as Macklemore got jammed badly. And again, Anderson had a good jump.
And the swing that Mark Macklemore took would lead you to believe it was a hit and run. because that was an ugly swing.
That was an ugly pitch to swing at, too. Well, Terry Leach does take a long time to deliver the ball to the plate. He's got a big motion, and he doesn't throw very hard. So his ball takes a little while to get up there, relatively speaking, which makes the base runner able to get a pretty good jump. Not going, and the ball is skied to center field. Here comes Lance Johnson again. 1 out as Anderson remains at first, and we'll go back to Tom Meade.
All right, Steve, the game we'll be going to next. The Tigers at the Mariners. 2 on for Pete O'Brien. Gone. Home run. 1 of 4 runs scored in this inning. In the third, on the 3-run homer +1, Seattle leads it 4-0. Steve.
Thanks, Tom. Here's Cal Ripken with 1 out and 1 on in the bottom of the 9th. Of a tie game. Cal with a single to right field back in the first inning. Since then, he's grounded out twice and flied to shallow center. Brady Anderson led off the 9th inning with a base hit to left field. He is at first with 1 out. Ripken asked for time.
Just about time for Junior to be a hero, too, isn't it?
Tell you what, you're going to write a script and give what these Baltimore fans would like to see. This would be the guy.
On the day when the Babe Ruth Museum dedicated a portion of the museum to Cal Ripken.
What an honor that is. And they had a little clip of the ceremonies and Cal's speech on the big screen out there during the game tonight. To a big applause from the crowd. Inside and a pad low. 2-0.
Johnny Oates made an appearance and gave a little speech. He says, yeah, I'm going to have to go make up some nice things to say about Cal Ripken Jr.
You know what'll be interesting is when Cal goes into the Hall of Fame, which he undoubtedly will 5 years after his retirement, who will he select to give his induction speech? Maybe it'll be his dad.
I would bet Dad.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be something? What a thrill it is for those guys to be in the big leagues with their dad and enjoy the game together every day. Ripken fouls it off at home plate off his foot or leg, and the count 2-1. Just what you need on a night when it's damp and in the 40s.
Used to be one of the great things about being a sinker ball pitcher. You turn it over and watch guys drill it into their foot and start hopping around and kind of laugh behind your gloves so they couldn't see you.
Yeah, turn your back to home plate and chortle. 1 out. Anderson still at first. 2-1 to Ripken. Anderson running. The pitch is inside and the throw not in time. Brady Anderson does it again. He steals his 11th base in 13 attempts. He's in scoring position with 1 out.
Ron Karkovice is one of the best in the game throwing runners out. Brady Anderson jams his hand into the base and comes up with a sore wrist at the tail end of this. But you see he got a great jump, a little bit of a walking lead. Nothing Karkovice could do.
And the count to Ripken now 3-1. Karkovice out for a meeting with Terry Leach. Now returns to home plate.
Nobody up in Chicago's bullpen, so it's Terry Leach's to win or lose.
And Anderson continues to do it all. Driving in runs. He's even hit 4 home runs. Hitting .300 and stealing bases with great effectiveness. 3-1 to Ripken. Ball 4. Runners at first and second, but the one that counts is at second. Let's get another update from Tom.
All right, Steve, in Oakland, watch this. You haven't seen this for a long time. Mark McGwire, Charlie Hayes, his first error of the season. Here comes Velarde's throw. Henderson has scored. Will Canseco make it? Yes, says the umpire. 2-1 Oakland in the second at Oakland. Steve?
Thanks, Tom. Right here, the Orioles are trying to pull it out in the bottom of the ninth after tying it in the bottom half of the sixth inning with 3 runs then. And Sam Horn, the hitter. Brady Anderson carries the potential winning run at second base. 1 out. And Sam's had a big night with 2 base hits and a run scored. Ball 1. Sam Horn, who changed his number this year. He had been number 15, and he opted for 38. To the left, Gene Lamont, still without a jacket. Outside, nope, a strike called. Shulock got me again. And again, that pitch that appears to be off the corner called a strike. But it has been that way since the first pitch of the game. 1-1.
All you can ask for is consistency. If you do it one time, do it all the time.
Low. 2-1.
You don't want to go 3-1 because then it really gets tough to throw that strike. You don't want to load the bases up because then you've got no place to put anybody.
Devereaux on deck. Leach steps off, so Anderson goes back to second, and Horn steps out. Sam Horn hit by a pitch his last time up, but in his last 7 official at-bats, 4 hits. Fouled out of play. 2-2. To right field, but not deep enough. Pasqua makes the catch, and Anderson advances to third with 2 out. Horn got under it just a bit, but he did put a little buzz in the crowd.
The crowd that stayed around tonight. Last night when I came over, the crowd left early in the game.
Well, they learned their lesson last night.
Just doesn't quite get it.
Gene Lamont out of the Chicago dugout for a meeting on the mound. And again, as you mentioned, Larry, nobody going in the bullpen for Chicago. Well, here's Devereaux in the ninth with 2 out, runners at first and third. Last night in the ninth inning, Mike Devereaux was at the plate against Rick Aguilera, and a runner was at third. And a wild pitch brought home the winning run. It was Joe Orsulak then. Fouled off. It's Brady Anderson at third now. 1 strike to count to Devereaux. 2 out. Bottom of the ninth. Tied at 3. Devereaux tonight officially 0 for 3, but he walked and scored a run in the 6th inning when the Orioles scored all 3 of their runs and tied the game. Anderson at third, Ripken at first, but it's Anderson at third to count. High, ball 1. Ground ball to third. Ventura up with it. Throws to Thomas, and we will go to extra innings tonight. 3-3 after 9. Leach survives a scary ninth to go to the 10th. Another first here at Oriole Park at Camden Yards. The first extra inning game in this park's young history. And Steve Sack's first ball hitting grounds at the third to start the 10th. 1 away. Leo Gomez throws him out. Sacks accepted sacrifice, having a tough night. He's 0 for 4. That'll bring up Robin Ventura, the number 3 hitter. It's Greg Olson, the 3rd pitcher of the night for the Orioles. Ventura 0 for 4 has flied out, popped out, and grounded out twice. Ball 1.
Now, if you're Johnny Oates, you're faced with a decision about Greg Olson, too, assuming that he gets through this inning. Do you use your closer for more than 2 innings? Using more than 2, you probably don't bring him back tomorrow. How much value do you place on this game? Now we can see the warehouse. He's crouching.
Nice of Frank to at least crouch down. We can have a shot. Sharply hit. Good play by McLemore on the backhand. 2 away.
First baseman, Frank Thomas.
Orioles doing it every way possible. This is a very nice play by Mark McLemore. Strong throw to first, even though he was off balance.
Well, Ventura's now 0 for 5 as McLemore takes one away from him. Frank Thomas, the hitter, and the top 3 hitters in the White Sox lineup tonight have only had 1 hit in 13 times up, and that was Rain's infield single in the 6th inning. Thomas, however, it's another story. He's hit a home run, driven in another run with a single, scored twice, and walked. And the only out he made was a line shot that McLemore made another good play on, and it knocked him down in the process.
And he is getting some great swings tonight, even on balls that he's fouling off.
Bobby Thigpen starting to fire in the White Sox pen. Fastball is tight. 2-1. Olson in relief of Davis, who relieved Mussina. We're in the 10th, tied at 3. Fastball right in there. 2-2.
Olson and Frank Thomas were teammates at Auburn University in '87 and '88, so they know each other very well. Another famous person was on that team.
Would his initials be BJ?
Bo Jackson.
Three and 2.
Dick Bosman says that Greg Olson has the best overhand curveball in the business. Very tight spin, a Camilo Pascual type curveball.
There's a fastball there, deep to right field and out of here. Frank Thomas with an opposite field home run off Greg Olson. And the White Sox lead it 4-3 in the top of the 10th inning. Frank Thomas's 3rd hit and 2nd tater of the night. Babe.
I've got to believe that they would rather have seen a curveball in that particular situation, up and over the plate. Frank doesn't try to pull it. He's strong enough to hit him out anywhere.
His 3rd home run in the last 2 days, his 4th of the season, 2nd of the night, and George Bell, the hitter. Thomas hit it with 2 out in the 10th. Bell takes low, 1-1. George tonight has an RBI double and a walk. Officially, he is 1 for 3. Foul that ball off? No. And the appeal says he did not swing, according to Larry Young at first base, so it is a ball. 2-1.
When you're a short reliever, there is no margin for error.
Well, when you throw a ball out over the plate to a guy who's 6'5" and 250, sometimes there's no margin for error either, because he could hit it out of the whole park, and he did. Going to right field with that one. Again, we remind you, Detroit at Seattle to follow. The breaking ball down low. They're in the 3rd inning in the Kingdome, and Seattle has a 5-0 lead on the Tigers.
Kevin Mitchell is starting to heat it up.
And Pete O'Brien has a 3-run home run tonight for the Mariners. Right here, 4-3 Chicago in the 10th. George Bell walks. A 2-out solo home run by Frank Thomas here in the 10th inning. The difference. And the inning is not over as Greg Olson walks George Bell, and that'll bring up Dan Pasqua.
Right fielder, Dan Pasqua.
And Joey Cora is going to pinch run for George Bell.
Running for George Bell, number 28, Joey Cora.
Not an unexpected move on the part of Gene Lamont. Pasqua tonight has struggled 0 for 4. He has struck out, grounded out twice, and flied to center. And Cora chased back.
Alan Mills is now throwing for the Orioles. Another one of those common numbers.
Yeah, the 70s are all over the place anymore. Fastball in there for a strike.
It's like hockey. We never used to see any hockey players with numbers above the second goalie, who was number 30 or 31. Now you see them all over the place.
Well, Esposito changed all that. Now they go up to 99.
That number 99 guy.
Yeah, he can play a little.
Not bad. He's got a chance to play.
It's like he knows how to skate or something. Just outside. One of the few times that pitch has not been called a strike. It's 1-1. Two out. Joey Cora, the pinch runner for George Bell at first, and a run in on Frank Thomas's 2nd home run of the night. 4-3 Chicago. 2-1. Olson working his 2nd inning of relief. He came in the 9th in the tie game. And finds himself on the losing side of things at the moment. Cora draws another throw, a little closer this time.
Now Greg Olson is starting to get to the number of pitches you wish that he wouldn't be throwing in 2 innings of work also.
And more often than not, something like this happens where you use your closer in a tie game and he pitches more than you want him to. Boy, another close play as Cora dives back in at first. Milligan with a good slap tag almost got him. And the next day or the next night, you need the guy to go a couple of innings.
Very close play. Looked like Cora might have been leaning, possibly with thoughts of going.
And again, he just gets back.
3-1, of course, being a good count to run on, because if it's ball 4, you're in safely. Pitcher wants to throw a strike, so if there's contact made and it's a double someplace, you can score from first.
Cora was leaning. That time they got him. Olson's move and Milligan's tag, they just kept doing it till they got it right, and they erased the rest of the threat. But Chicago on the home run by Frank Thomas with 2 out in the 10th leads it 4-3, going to the bottom of the 10th. Bobby Thigpen on for the White Sox in the bottom of the 10th as they now have a 1-run lead.
Jackie Brown, the pitching coach for the White Sox, calls him a grunt-type pitcher. Not much question about what you're going to get. It's going to be hard. 12 games already this year. He's getting his work in.
And as you might expect, up among the leaders, leading the club with 7 saves. Well, the Orioles had their chance to win it in the bottom of the 9th inning with runners in scoring position, or a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Failed to do it. They also, of course, came from behind and tied the game with 3 runs in the 6th. So can they do it in the bottom of the 10th, down by a run? Joe Orsulak, Randy Milligan, and Chris Hoyles, the 3 scheduled hitters here in the 10th for the Orioles. Orsulak tonight 1 for 4 with an RBI single and a run scored. And he asks and receives time. Ball 1. Thigpen throws the ball so hard that it almost isn't a slider. It's like a cut fastball. Ball 2. And right away, Karkovice sees something he doesn't like, and he goes out to talk to Bobby.
You try to harness the adrenaline that you build up in that situation, and for a power pitcher like Thigpen, you can turn it to your advantage. What Karkovice is saying is don't overdo it here, because a lot of times the harder you try to throw, the more velocity you actually lose. You start gripping the ball too tight, get the white knuckles.
2 balls, no strikes. Ripped foul. And the Souvenir bounding up into the stands, hopefully not off someone's noggin. The fans are close to the yard here, and the ball gets over there in one quick hurt. And if you're not looking, you can get smoked easily. 2-1. 3-1.
Control has been a problem in the past for Thigpen. Last year, 38 walks in 69 innings. A little bit higher ratio than you like from your short man.
There's ball 4, and Orsulak's aboard to lead off the 10th. He is the potential tying run. Friday night baseball here on ESPN from Oriole Park at Camden Yards. Steve Zabriskie and Larry Sorensen. We're in extra innings. Chicago scoring a run in the top of the 10th inning on the 2nd home run of the night by Frank Thomas. And the Orioles are trying to come back yet again as they have their leadoff batter aboard. Nobody out in the bottom of the 10th, and Randy Milligan the hitter. And Orsulak running, and he's in there. Sachs might have had a chance, but the ball was on the backhand side and got away from him.
It was going to be have to be a quick sweeping tag from Steve Sachs, and he tried to be a little bit too quick and never got the ball into his glove. Interesting decision by Johnny Oates. Orsulak not with great speed, but a hit and run. You don't want Randy Milligan to bunt. Never got the ball back. He gets a good job, but with somebody that throws as hard as Thigpen, there's plenty of time. The throw is just off to the third base side of second base.
Fouled off of Karkovice. Strike 2 to Milligan. For Orsulak, his first stolen base of the year in his 2nd attempt. 2nd stolen base of the night for the Orioles, who now have 21.
Johnny Oates trying to stay out of the double play. Milligan hits the ball hard. He's a good double play candidate.
Milligan fouls it back, and it's still 0-2.
And you saw on that swing, he's playing good team baseball, trying to push the ball to the right side of the infield, advance the runner to third base.
Thigpen with a save in each of the last 2 days, and 7 out of 8 possible opportunities. He has picked up the save so far this year, trying for his 8th. Milligan fouls it down the right field line. Still no balls, 2 strikes, nobody out, and the tying run in scoring position in the person of Joe Orsulak, who walked and stole second. One and 2.
Very impressed with the approach Randy Milligan is taking to this at bat.
What could be termed an intelligent approach. And he lays off the breaking ball inside. 2-2.
He wants that hanger a little bit more out over the plate. Then you can forget about taking it to right.
He almost jumped, didn't he? It looked real good, but then he saw, oh, it's inside. I'll get jammed or jam myself. That was out over the plate, but fouled off. Still 2-2. Scott Radinsky throwing in the bullpen for Chicago, just in case. Strike 3 called, and what a pitch by Thigpen. Milligan knew it. Boy, that was some kind of battle, and Thigpen wins it for out number 1.
A great pitch, and he's been calling it all night. Just catches that outside corner. You might as well let it go because you're probably not going to hit it anyway.
Somebody had to win. That was a classic, and Thigpen won it.
Sometimes you get the bear, sometimes the bear gets you.
That's right. So here's Chris Hoyles, 1 for 3 plus a walk. 1 out. Strike 1. Pounded off the plate. Ventura to first in time for out number 2, and on the play Orsolak moves to third, only getting a minor increase in advantage now with 2 out.
But after watching Aguilera throwing in the dirt last night, you never know. Thigpen certainly is capable of it. It'd be a little bit too much to ask to beat 2 relievers like that in the last inning on wild pitches.
The way things have been going for the Orioles, though, it's one of those things that you think is possible. Ordinarily, you just say no way. Leo Gomez, 1 for 4 tonight with a single to left back in the 6th inning.
This crowd is into the ball game. A standing ovation for the last hitter, trying to rattle the pitcher a little bit.
I'll tell you what, I like to see it, and I certainly like it better than that wave.
Well, this is what makes for a home field advantage.
That's right. Everybody's up. Orsolak at third, the tying run. We're in the 10th inning. Strike on the outside corner. 1-1 to Leo Gomez.
This breaking ball is borderline. The crowd obviously thinks it's not a strike. He looks a little bit outside.
Inside. 2-1. You can't have it both ways.
No, and John Shulak has established that outside corner.
Skied into short center. Long run for Johnson, but Sachs is there, and the ball game is over. The White Sox put an end, at least temporarily, to a little bit of that Baltimore Oriole Park magic.
I don't think the Orioles will lose any of the confidence that they've built up, though. They did a very good job coming back tonight. Just got outplayed by Frank Thomas.
It was Frank Thomas's night. 2 home runs, including the game winner here in the 10th inning. Chicago winning at 4-3. Terry Leach the winner, his first victory. Olson the loser, he's 0-2, and Thigpen picks up save number 8. For our ESPN crew and for Larry Sorensen, Steve Zabriskie saying so long from Baltimore and sending you to Seattle.